My name is Demola Bakri. To the new entrants to my world, I am Honorable Justice Demola Bakri, a prince from the Jibosho ruling house of the Bagura nation. I was born in Ibadan, then the capital of Old Western State, now the capital of Oyo State. Those were lovely days of peace and tranquility. I attended UMC demonstration school at Okeado, Ibadan, and I remember after school work with my sister and other students from school compound through Imale Falafia College Crescent area. Then, we all never knew what life had in stock for us. It was a life of K, Sera. We had fun, just sleeping and waking up for school the next day. I remember the midday meal, sometimes yam, porridge, and vegetables. I remember fan milk. The dream was to be an electronic engineer, to understand how a voice from the box could reach so many homes. I remember Rediffusion, also my neighbor's television in the early 70s, and my father's struggle to buy one. I remember later my mother's struggle to buy a radio cassette player for the family. It was a compensation for our hard work at cleaning the compound. I remember the creation of states in 1976 and our usual weekend trips from Abeokuta to Ibadan. I remember the Ibadan-Abeokuta road and the Odeda sharp bend with inscription, "Sharp bend ahead, many have gone, be careful." It was indeed an era to behold. I remember the good old days of common entrance into secondary schools and the right to choose based on your ability when it was only 5 kobo per term as allowances. Today in reflection, I wonder why we cannot have a brighter future. Yes, our children deserve more. Let each of us rise to contribute our quota to see to a bright and wonderful future for Nigeria. We still have an opportunity to print our foot boldly on the positive sides of sands of time. Our children deserve a brighter and better tomorrow. Not just the good old days. Let's change the narrative. I join Shemore in this collective drive towards a greater tomorrow. Thank you.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) arrested former Imo State Governor Rochas Okorocha and allegedly have refused to question him 24 hours later. And former Governor of Anambra State Peter Obi has dumped the People's Democratic Party (PDP) and his presidential ambition. Well, this is Plus Politics. I am Mary Anacom. Operatives of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) have arrested Rochas Okorocha, former Imo State Governor. The senator representing Imo West had earlier declined to be taken away by operatives, insisting that he will not submit himself to the anti-graft agency without a warrant. But security operatives broke the entrance doors to get into the home of the former governor. In a statement, Wilson Uwujaren, EFCC spokesperson, said they had orders to bring the former governor to stand trial before a federal high court in Abuja. Okorocha's family has now accused the EFCC of failing to interrogate him 24 hours after his arrest. His daughter, Uloma Okorocha, also confirmed that her father's arrest and detention might be part of plots to stop him from participating in the APC presidential screening and primaries. Well, joining us to discuss this is Dele Farotimi. He's a political analyst. Thank you so much, Mr. Farotimi, for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, it was a pleasure. So, I mean, the whole world watched as what some people would term as, a scene from Mission Impossible, play out on our screens. We saw the live footage from the sitting room of the senator, and we also saw what was happening outside thanks to pressmen. I just want to get a feel of what you think actually transpired and why it had to take that turn as opposed to him being invited to the EFCC on a normal day.
Well, I guess when you move away from the theater and you look to the substance, you find very quickly that what you're just saying, Okorocha is not playing the game according to the script is being handed. It's a simple enough thing. Number one, the man is not just being arrested. He'd been arrested before. He'd been charged before a court. He was enjoying an administrative bail, according to the EFCC. His next court appearance would appear to be on the 30th of May. He had he had declined to appear before the court at his last sitting. I think that was in March. So ordinarily, if the EFCC was interested in ensuring his appearance before the court, the administrative bail that he had enjoyed would be revoked. We don't know yet if that is what had been done, but it would appear to be the reasonable assumption to make. If the administrative bail has been revoked, the EFCC had not arrested him this time around in order to be interrogating him. They've moved beyond the point of interrogation. The man has been charged. He's been charged for, I think, money laundering to the tune of 2.9 billion or something along those lines. So if they are now arresting him in the manner that we all watched, which is not new, if the truth be told, you'll find dozens of videos online where the same EFCC had deployed similar tactics against people they've labeled Yahoo boys. They'll go to hotels, bust into hotels, arrest everybody in the hotel, and then begin a process of screening to ensure who the Yahoo person is and who isn't. So if a Yahoo senator, sorry to say, because that's what it would appear to be now, is now being picked by the same agency, well, I will say to you that he probably just didn't hack the script the way he's been instructed. Because ordinarily, I really don't know what he has done that is different from what all of them has done. And this time around, picking him up at the time, in the circumstances, deploying so much force, it doesn't say a lot that is positive about the EFCC, but it also doesn't in any way exonerate Rocha himself. Because if the truth be told, the EFCC made a case. He had a bail. He'd been flouting the terms. He's refused to appear in court. They are within their right to arrest him. It's the manner of the arrest that we might deprecate.
Quoting the spokesman for the former governor and senator, he did say something about the fact that there was a high court order from Port Harcourt that had barred the EFCC from prosecuting this case. In fact, he was on another station showing or handing out, a copy of that court judgment. In fact, he also alleged that the EFCC had been slammed a 500 million naira fine that had not been paid, and that EFCC had also not gone to court to vacate that order. And so that the EFCC is also, one way or the other, in breach of the court.
There's nothing new there. In the first place, I've said this ad nauseum. Nigeria is not governed by laws. So when you have a situation where a senator, a former two-time governor, takes off to a court in Port Harcourt, he gets himself a court order in Port Harcourt, stopping the EFCC from doing what it is doing. EFCC also will tell you that under the administration of justice, criminal justice laws, they are entitled to do their job without hindrance by way of any court order. They would have multiple levels. At the end of the day, nothing will happen to Okorocha. It's all about the administration of impunity. Okorocha will play the script by the time he comes out of EFCC confinement. He'll probably withdraw his candidacy like a good boy. And he would, of course, like every other one, once he recants, we've heard it from Adam Oshiomhole. Join us and you are immune. He's one of the foundation members of APC. So how can anyone expect that anything will happen to him? All that you are saying is that in the moment, he is required to act in a manner that is inconsistent with his own choices. And when he finally understands that he has to play according to the script, they will pat him on the back. He will go back to the chambers of the Senate. That was the Senator of the Federal Republic. They will go back to the Senate again and make laws for the lesser mortals. And EFCC will promptly go back to chasing the Yahoo boys and filtering people through their processes. But at the end of the day, this is not about the Nigerian people. It has nothing to do with an anti-corruption war. Nothing of the sort. Simply Silva is sat in that federal cabinet.
Mr. Faratimi, you're insinuating...
He report of everything the EFCC is doing. It's a waste of time. It's just another circus of anti-corruption.
I'm sorry, are you insinuating that this is politically motivated as opposed to
of course
the fight against corruption? I'm asking because there are people who are on the side of the EFCC saying that, look, he mismanaged funds when he was governor. He's not necessarily been able... So why would this be politically motivated? I mean, like you have also said, he's a member of the All Progressive Congress. If he were to be a sacred cow, would he be dragged, as he was dragged, to the glare of the whole public?
Look, let me repeat what I said to you earlier on. Nigeria is not interested in fighting corruption. If we were interested in fighting corruption, certain key members of the Buhari administration or regime would not be sat in that place. They were already hung, they had on their neck, they had corruption charges hanging around their necks before they became part and parcel of that cabinet. Okorocha is in very good company. He's not different from any one of the remaining lots, whether they be in the Senate or they be in the federal cabinet. So it's not as if there is anything extra. In fact, there is one that was convicted that is enjoying some sort of reprieve, that is sat as the chief whip of the Senate. So let's get something clear, that Okorocha's stole is nothing new. That actually gives him the bona fide to be a member of the Nigerian ruining class. There is nothing new there. I'm not condoning it, but I'm pointing it out to you. So if they're chasing after Okorocha, you need to look beyond an anti-corruption fight, because it's obviously not about anti-corruption. Corruption is not... Buhari is very comfortable with corruption. If you recall, just before the primary processes started, he even went as far as to instruct the EFCC not to get involved with the process. So you would understand that if they are now moving beyond that, it's not because Okorocha is corrupt. All of them are the same. So there must be a reason for going after Okorocha at this time. I'm not validating anything. I don't know, but nobody is going to convince me that this is about... It's also like somebody telling you that the allegations against the Accountant General of the Federation is motivated by an anti-corruption battle. Of course it's not. They must have their own infighting that is going on. And they are going to be casualties in their Game of Thrones. But let nobody be fooled into thinking that there is an anti-corruption battle going on. Anything but, please, it's an infight amongst them. They know why they're having their intra-class battles, but it will not result in anything that would affect the poor man on the street. It will not move the needle in any anti-corruption war, because there is none. The problem of Nigeria is not corruption, it's impunity. And Okorocha knows that. He also knows that the levels of impunity will be shifted in his favor once the balance is restored in their coven. So we can discuss this and be having our episodic gyrations, talk about it, enjoy the talk, but it changes nothing. Rochas is merely paying for not doing what he's meant to do in the coven. When they are done punishing him within the coven, me and you will not be caught. You won't know anything about it. It will end there. Noise. End of story. After all the drama with Dino Melaye, what happened to him? Nothing. Nothing. Fayoshe? Nothing. Name one that they have prosecuted in 7 years. Nothing. Nothing will happen to him. We can enjoy talking about this in another year. I'm telling you straight up, unless the system changes to hold it, even the people chasing roaches needs to be chased. So it's not a situation that should excite us as citizens, quote and unquote, because it really doesn't affect us. It's their own infighting. This is yet another one of their wars. Do not die in their war. It's their war. It's not about us.
I'm curious, when you say that, there are reasons, and those reasons are personal to the people, in your words, the Coven. What sort of a threat would Okorocha be? I mean, in the scheme of things, let's look at it from the presidential ticket angle. I mean, in terms of weight and who would be able to appeal across the board, does he even, fall between the first five? I'm just curious. So much so that I'm trying to understand, your narrative. If it were something I would buy into, how heavy is an Okorocha in the scheme of things? If it be anything to go by what you're saying, that it's because he's not playing to the script, and I'm wondering what script.
Let me explain something to you. I hate to sound like a conspiracy theorist, and I'm not one. But when something does not add up, when you reason normally, then you're forced to begin to look at those things that might not appear to be sane because the situation is simply not sane. Now, you said, of what significance really is Okorocha in the scheme of things? You say that because you assume that they are all playing for the presidency. Imo State is in a state of flux. There has been an ongoing battle between Okorocha and the current governor of Imo State. They've had that ongoing battle for a while. You've had people kidnapped in churches. You now have a situation where the man is saying, look, for good or for bad, I have purchased 100 million naira ticket for the presidency. I want to be screened, and if you are arresting me at this time, I am not going to be able to attend the screening, thus ensuring that I cannot even qualify to proceed further. Now, if a man has a court appearance for the 30th of the month, has been absconding consistently since he was first charged in January. Last appearance was in March. They say he'd been dodging and running away from being served. Question is this is not a civil trial. You don't run away from being served. You already charged the person to court. The important thing is to revoke the bail if he is not showing up. The timing of the arrest, the severity of the force deployed, that is, of course, not to discount the fact that the man also acted like a truant by not submitting himself once he saw them. He cannot talk about an arrest warrant at that point. So I'm not suggesting that Okorochas had been treated any different from any of the persons that the EFCC had deployed its forces against. But I am saying that considering the timing, considering also that this is an administration that has shown itself to be very, very comfortable with corruption. This man is not different from any one of the other members of the coven. There is nothing about, he is not more corrupt than the other members of that coven. But in this case, he is trying to become the president in the coven. Let's let this sink in for a second. I'm saying to you that a two-time governor of Imo State, a sitting senator of the Republic, was hauled out of his home like any common criminal or even a fellow citizen who has not done anything other than being suspected of having done something of nothing substantial had been established. He is treated like that. Now, is that the usual way they treat themselves? That kind of treatment is reserved for commoners like me and you. When you see that kind of treatment deployed, you now have to start asking yourself, what is different this time around? Okorochas and other members of their coven are more comfortable and they will know exactly what they have bought from each other. But I'm simply saying, if corruption was the basis for the arrest of Rochas Okorocha, the Nigerian Senate should be emptied of senators. They shouldn't be able to have quorum in that place, or in the federal cabinet for that matter. So I'm simply saying that look beyond the noise. It's the election season. The man was, if it was about buying votes and the buy delegates, the man could jolly well have emerged as a presidential candidate if he had enough money to deploy. So, and that maybe they think the 2.9 billion has been kept to be deployed at the election grant. For whatever reason, I think we should pay attention. Yes, he has a criminal charge in front of him, but this could have been managed differently. He left it open to the suspicion that they are political undertone. What they have done in their coven is not my business. I don't know, but that is the appearance that it has given.
Okay, let's talk about, because you've raised a lot of very interesting points. I've listened to conversations about this on the radio. I've watched other people talk about it. It calls to question the seriousness about the war against corruption, whether it be now, whether it be before, even in the future. Again, what does this say about our crime-fighting institutions, especially the EFCC, the ICPC? Have they ever worked? Because it calls to question all of the people who have ever been taken in by the EFCC. And with the drama that we saw a few days ago, it calls to question all of those things. And then this is a three-pronged question. What about the trust of the average Nigerian in leadership in general, whether it be on the at the state level or at the federal level, in fighting whatever it may be, whether it be corruption, and of course those who are looting from the nation's coffers?
Well, you've asked a lot of questions, so let's unpack them one by one. One, it would be delusional for anyone to suggest that there is an anti-corruption war going on in Nigeria today or at any time in the last 20 years or thereabout. There hasn't been one. There has never been one. What you've seen have been episodic appearances of that carnival, that circles of anti-corruption that is designed to distract the people and to then give them the impression that something is being done. Meanwhile, the real problem has never been corruption. The real problem has always been impunity. The refusal to ensure that there are due punishment for crime, not even arrest in most cases. So let's forget those lies and the charade. In 7 years, who has been convicted aside from the poor Yahoo boy or the one who... He's always been the petty criminals. The EFCC, in all fairness, let's be truthful to ourselves. That institution, there are good men and women there. They will do well if they were in a society that is allowed to function the way one should function. Most of them, I've had occasion to speak with a few. They have a lot of regrets about the way their works are usually scattered by their political overlord. But it does not change the fact that the body is redundant because the political will to allow it to do its job is simply not there. The Nigerian political class cannot afford to fight corruption because itself is rooted. You just need to look at the entirety of the ongoing political circles of primaries and all of them. That's sufficient to let you know. Let's keep that to one side. You talk about the erosion of public trust. Nigerians have given up on this country. Let's be sincere with ourselves. We are all hoping that something will change, that something will happen to catalyze some change. But the truth of the matter is that no Nigerian that I know of is waiting to see something happen in the area of anti-corruption because we've all come to realize that there is no such thing. It's not going to happen. Those who should be doing it are the most corrupt and they have no interest in doing anything about it. So the public trust in the capacity of the system for self-correction or for anything remotely resembling anti-corruption drives, the people don't expect it. We've all become completely cynical because we can see repeatedly our hopes have been dashed. Buhari came on the wing of change. He was promising the biggest credential of General Buhari was anti-corruption and his capacity to fight insecurity on both counts, -0. So the capacity is gone. The people themselves have lost hope. So if you are still talking about public trust, forget about it, it's gone. We already know that we are being ruled by a coterie of thieves. We sometimes hope that maybe one will pity us and be a little nicer and less venal, but the reality is that nothing has changed. If anything, it's grown worse under the. In fact, the truth is, it has grown worse under the APC. We've never seen corruption this brazen.
Okay.
Jonathan, sorry, please. One final point. Jonathan never appointed a person who had EFCC charges on his neck into his cabinet. And that was the person we all said was the most corrupt at that time. But today, how many ministers in that cabinet have EFCC charges on their necks? Or had, I should say. But that's another story for another day.
Like you mentioned earlier, we're in the election season. Everybody's campaigning. People are putting out adverts and speaking, nicely and rolling out the best of vocabularies, asking for our votes once again. But all that you have said, not to sound like I do not believe or I'm skeptical, but there are people who also believe that the EFCC is working, is trying its best. But if we are to go forward as a country, should this be a wake-up call to us? And do you think that we've gotten to the point where we are certain, we are resolute that we will not vote in yet another person who we will be crying about in the next 4 years? Or I think the other way to ask it is when will we be able to wake up to our responsibilities as voters and understand that we can't have it business as usual?
Look, the Nigerian is a long way off from beginning the journey to rectitude. In the last, I believe in the last couple of weeks, I have had several opportunities to be despondent about the chances of our country. And this is because an electoral cycle is upon us. Probably the most important election, if one will hold, in my lifetime. But the average Nigerian is so disconnected from the system that I am afraid that we might not be able to do the needful. But I will still hold on to some shred of optimism. Let's continue to watch what the process will throw up. Perhaps there might come a candidate who might come with a message of hope and a message of change. But the current set are just grave diggers. I don't see anything to provoke hope currently. But you don't know what tomorrow might bring. And we live in hope. Perhaps somebody will come with a message, with a vision that might galvanize the Nigerian people. But as of today, all I'm hearing are people preaching personnel changes, none of which will save us. What you are saying under Buhari with the EFCC, with the Okorocha's episode, pull it back a little and you remember that you saw something similar with Fayose crying over his neck, wearing the braids upside down. You saw it with Dino jumping out of moving bus. You saw it with Timpre. You saw it with Alamie. It's a long history. When we have a transformational leader who has vision behind which to unite the people, we might come out of this mess. But our chances are dwindling by the day because personnel changes won't save us.
I mean, at times like this, people, make mention of the fact that we have a national orientation agency that's half past dead. Political parties are only canvassing for votes that will help them win the position. Maybe a few people like you who are interested in, educating the average voter. I see that, people like you are having those conversations, but at what capacity? Because again, one person can do just this much. Do we need more of these conversations to be had, not just on the radio, not on TV, but where more and more people can be, educated as to their rights, as to how they can participate? Because we keep asking for strong institutions to be built, but where do we start the building process?
So, no Voltron is going to save Nigeria. There is no Voltron anywhere. There is no Superman. It's going to be the average Nigerian coming to the knowledge of the fact that he has no other country to call his own. He has to be the one to stand up and save himself. Looking to the political class is a waste of time. However, leadership is key in every situation. So yes, we will continue to agitate in our own little space and with as many platforms as are available to us to reach the people, to educate them. But that's the best we can do. We can only seek to educate, hoping that the people themselves will come to the knowledge of the fact that selling their conscience, selling their votes, detaching from the process, or finding alternative means of engagement with the system, which only exacerbates our situation, would not serve the purpose. We all need to find the engagement with the process. There are many beautiful young men and women working all over the country. I know a few. They speak in the area of voters education, mobilization of voters, citizens to go and register to vote. But how is INEC helping that process? Look to the ongoing primaries in the parties. You're seeing that even the political parties, they are clearly not designed as agents of change. They're just platforms for the capture of power. So a lot still needs to change. It might be that we're still with enough time to do something, or it might very well be that the change is already out of our own hands. But what is clear is that looking to individuals for anything beyond totem leadership and direction pointing is a waste of time. It has to be the people acting in concert before anything can change.
Okay.
Individuals can only inspire by their own examples, but that's all they are, individuals.
Okay.
The people themselves have to get to the point. It becomes quite frustrating when you seek to explain things to
Ms. Farasimi, are you still there? I think that we lost that connection. Mr. Farasimi, can you hear me? I think we lost that connection, but Dele Farasimi is a political analyst.
I can hear you now.
Yeah, we lost you briefly. Well, because time is not on our side, I want to say thank you very much for being part of the conversation. We'll only hope that things can get better.
Thank you.
All right, Dele Farasimi is a political analyst and he has been talking to us. We'll take a break now. When we come back, we will be discussing the resignation of Peter Obi from the People's Democratic Party. Stay with us.
Everybody wants new Nigeria. Nobody wants to continue with this rusted system that is not working for anybody except those who are in government and their cronies and people around them. And when you go to the New Nigeria People's Party, we are happy with the New Nigeria and we are happy with New Nigeria People's Party. And you see, we are not only looking for party with the majority of people. We were looking for a party that has a potential of receiving people who are of like minds. The party is very much concerned about the security in this country. Security is key. In fact, in the past, we were taking security for granted because we believe that every responsible government, not only in Nigeria, but across the country, will ensure the security of lives and properties. Unfortunately, we find ourselves in this country that the government in power cannot really say that they have done that. We have seen what happened just recently from here to Kaduna, where the train was attacked. So many people were killed, some were being injured. Many people were being taken into the bush. As we are speaking now, they are there with the bandits. Only God knows what is happening to them. We have seen young men and women, especially the young doctor that we have seen being killed, and we have seen the dead body and so on. It's very unfortunate. And We are not after the statistics of who was killed, who was not killed. What we are interested in is for the government to go and fish out those bandits and terrorists that are killing innocent Nigerians.
Yes, I was trying to harp on these assurances that these people came up with. They went every corner, every nook, assuring Nigerians that they were the only ones with the capacity. And the person of Mr. President, that the best thing after Jesus Christ that will happen to Nigeria. And all Nigeria needed to have all its problems fixed was to get that man in power. Today, even his own party faithfuls, like we have listened recently from Governor Erifai, Rotimi Amechi, and very many who have come sincerely to admit that there's failure in administration, that there is gross incapacity. But it didn't take us that long for us to know. The first 3 months, in fact, before he resumed office, we knew that they were foisting on Nigeria a person who is devoid of integrity.
You see, it is easier for a court to say IPOB is a terrorist group because it is an association that is defined by objectives, and there are leadership, there are structure. You can easily define them as a group. So when you now classify such an organization, then anyone that associates with that organization can be said to be either be a member.
Former governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, has dumped the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and his presidential ambition. He explained that recent developments within the party were responsible for his resignation from the opposition party and withdrawal from its presidential primary slated for the end of May. Obi was one of the 15 PDP presidential aspirants cleared by Senator David Mark-led Presidential Screening Committee last month. The party had recently thrown its presidential ticket open, attracting rebuke from social cultural organizations like Ohaneze Ndigbo, which maintained that political parties like the PDP and the APC should zone their tickets to the southeast geopolitical zones. Well, joining us to discuss these are Opunabo Inko Tario, a political analyst, and Ezekiel Nyaitok, who's a politician. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us.
Thanks for having us. Good evening, Marianne.
Great.
Good evening, Nigeria.
Mr. Nyaitok, I'll start with you because you have been a PDP member before. And I remember the last time we had a conversation, you talked about some of the things that happened within the People's Democratic Party, internal democracies wise. With the message that was put out on Peter Obi's social media handle, and of course the letter-headed statement, and the abrupt, resignation from the party, does it seem like something that was done in a haste or something that had been in the works? Mr. Nyaitok, can you hear me? No, I'm asking Mr. Nyaitok, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very loud and clear.
Go ahead.
Yes, I have been a member of the PDP for a very long time. And in the year 2010, I woke up one morning, called a press conference, and resigned my membership of the PDP. It was at the time that I was enjoying everything that could be enjoyed in the PDP, relationship from the presidency to my state, to my governor, and everything was going well for me by way of being a party man. As a matter of fact, if you look in the social media, you see my son, my first son, Anyekan, having a handshake with Mr. President then in his office. That's a one-on-one with Mr. President, while I had a one-on-one with my governor. So everything was going on well. But I asked myself, is this really what I want as a person? And the answer was obviously no. PDP had all the opportunities, everything that was needed for it to be in power for the next 60 years. But they lost the vision. They lost the focus. It became not longer that vehicle of governance, but a kind of, Game of Thrones, the powers. It was about the paraphernalia of the office, the powers of the office. It was not about governance anymore. And I couldn't stand it. Fast forward, what happened? They lost 5 governors and they said, oh, it doesn't matter. It couldn't be bothered. Nothing will happen. We'll still be in power. I called them and said, there's something really wrong fundamentally. Think about it. Oh, you are being intellectual. Forget it. Bottom line, they lost election. Now today, the 2 most viable candidates, 3, let me say 3 most viable courted candidates are from the PDP. Who are they? Kwankwaso, today, do by any rating, is the man that controls the North. Mr. Peter Obi, by any, and in fact, is one of the biggest news, and there was no news if you were not something from the PDP. And third, even former President Jonathan, who is being courted for more reasons than one, is from the PDP. And PDP has let the 3 of them go without thinking. So I think that Mr. Peter Obi is a friend, and he's a very intellectual person. He's a very calculating person, and he's wanted to show himself, prove himself. So he got to the Nigerian public and he sold himself. Nigerians bought him. And he was expecting that PDP will think for the first time in a long time. And he pushed it till when the window was about to close. And he said, guy, I can't take this anymore. But always, I think he knew that there was a plan B. It's like a discussion that I had with Mr. Kwankwaso, who is my very good friend as well. And he told me something, which, I mean, there's nothing to hide. He said, look, I'm a politician. I've been into politics. If I go into primaries, he said, this guy, he called 1, 2, 3, 4 names, big names. He said, each of them will beat him in the primaries. Each of them will beat him silly in the primaries. But the 4...
Oh, I think that we lost that connection with Mr. Nyaito. Mr. Nyaito, can you hear me? I think that we lost that connection. Okay, Openabo, I'm going to toss to you until we get him back. A lot of people have called out former Governor Peter Obi, saying that this is a huge mistake and that he probably didn't think it over before making this move. But do you think this was a huge mistake on his part, leaving the PDP?
Well, I don't think so. I mean, Peter Obi probably would have, or definitely would have communicated on his actions, on the steps it was to take, would have weighed the pros and cons, and probably convinced that, yes, this was the best option for him. Obviously, he wasn't quite explicit in his letter, no doubt about that. Mm-hmm. But the truth is, Peter Obi is from a zone where you have more candidates with less delegates. That is one. And there is the possibility that definitely he wasn't going to win the primaries. And so he felt there was no point continuing with it, because you have how many candidates from the Southeast? And when you look at the delegates, how many delegates do they have, or does the Southeast have? So obviously it's a blind alley, and more so, he felt that his chances in the PDP are quite dim because of the number of candidates there. So let him go to a party where he's going to be the only shining light. No doubt he has the clout, he has the acceptability, the legitimacy, and so on. But definitely that would have been quite difficult to achieve in the PDP, where the space is to a very large extent constricted. And I think that's why he defected. He withdrew from the PDP and also from the primaries and also defected.
You said that he left because you think it's the number of delegates that he had from his zone, and he saw maybe
the chances. In summary, the chances.
Yes,
no
chances.
Less delegates,
Yes.
more aspirants.
But I mean, if it was just that, couldn't he have just stepped down and thrown his support behind someone else, as he did the last time when he supported former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. And I'm not insinuating that he should support him this time, but I'm saying, could he have not supported somebody else, maybe from the South?
No, that definitely is not an option, because don't forget that there is a stern warning from the leaders of the Southeast that they should never play the second fiddle. That is number one. And number two, he's not ready. He wants to be the president. So he's not ready to be the vice president to anybody, if not even to his fellow Igbo brothers. He doesn't believe that they are better. He believes he's better. But sadly, probably he's not going to achieve that dream, realize that dream on the platform of the PDP. And if there are chances that he's going to realize that dream, his dream will go to fruition on the platform of any other political party, then why not leave? Why not defect? There's nothing wrong with that. There's actually nothing wrong with that.
Well, as we all know, and those of us who've been watching social media, we could see that that same evening where he posted his resignation from the People's Democratic Party, he was seen shaking hands and meeting with the presidential candidate of the NNPP, which is former Governor Kwankwaso, which also has raised eyebrows. Now, you just mentioned that the South and the leaders have also, sternly warned candidates, or rather aspirants, not to play second fiddle. If he's going to a political party where, and I'm saying this because I have interviewed the leadership of that party, and they had said succinctly to me that they have an unopposed presidential candidate. If this be true, what is former Governor Peter Obi doing courting the NNPP leader, or rather presidential aspirant?
Well, these are mere conjectures that you that probably extrapolate from what we see, no doubt about that. Not that we are quite sure of the facts. Yes, you might see him with Kwakwanso, but that does not mean that he's going to be the vice president running mate to Kwakwanso, not necessarily. He has not said so. We also hear that he might probably get to SDP. We also hear that Tinubu might probably also get to SDP. These are mere conjectures, so we are not certain. I don't think that Peter Obi will defect from the PDP to any other party to be the vice presidential candidate of that party. Then it really makes no sense, because I really want to fathom the reasonableness in such an act. You can as well be the vice presidential candidate and imagine PDP candidate rather than defect. But again, probably he's done his own homework to realize who is going to emerge as the PDP candidate, presidential candidate, and is not comfortable, or that person already has his own vice presidential candidate. So these are all things that's why I said the electoral is not explicit enough, So these are things that probably he would have considered and did not bring to public knowledge, because he did not actually give any cogent reason for defecting from the PDP. So he must have taken all these issues under advisement. Am I going to be a presidential candidate, or these other presidential candidates? We do already have a presidential candidate. Then what will I be doing in the PDP? Let me defect from the PDP to a party where I might likely be the presidential candidate or a running mate to the presidential candidate. So these are all the permutations, and these are all the considerations that he must have informed his decision to move from the PDP to another political party that is yet to be disclosed to the public.
All right, Mr. Nyaitok, I think we have you back. We lost you, due to connection. But I'm going to quickly pose this question. Many have also criticized the former governor of being a serial defector, that he moved from APGA to the PDP, and now he's defecting again. Who knows where he's going to, and that this might not necessarily play, in his favor. But then again, the other question is, what does this do to the ambition of the Southeast? Being that within the APC, aside from the Ebonyi State governor who is interested in running for the presidency, we had Okorocha, the senator, and of course,
what Mr. Peter Obi has done is probably one of the best chances that that the Southeast has to produce a president.
How so?
You know, yes, I'll tell you this. The very first thing is that within the two main political parties, the chances of any of the people from the Southeast getting the ticket is as slim as can be. But what I bring it back, Kwankwaso did of staying out and showing he's a force is what Mr. Peter Obi will do by stepping out and showing there's a force. One of the things we've not taken into consideration is understanding the current Electoral Act. And in this current Electoral Act, we are going to have 6 to 8 months of campaigning. So what Mr. Peter Obi is going to do is take a party, run and gather momentum. Mr. Kwankwaso is going to take a party, he's already got a party, run and gather momentum. As they head into around September, it will be clear who is a principal and who is not. The ADC, you would have, I mentioned this in the morning during the newspaper review, just 2 days back, paraded 12 presidential aspirants. Nigerians couldn't believe the quality of the people, everything. Now, what we are starting to have is an animation of a mindset reset. Wow, there is an option, there is an alternative. Yes, they are in their enclaves, but because these people are largely motivated by the fact that APC, PDP, ideology, philosophy has failed and is not okay, they are now pandering to what Nigerians would want to see and hear. To that extent, we are coming and putting the fact that it's about nation first, Nigeria first, where I happen to be the DG. You know, as a result, as each of them gathers momentum individually, the ADC is there, going to have a presidential candidate that's going to be very strong. NNPP is there. SDP is there. My friend Wale Adewale is there, doing well as well. So that around September, October, there's going to be a second level of, talking about Nigeria, putting Nigeria first. Put Nigeria above your personal ego. Put Nigeria above your personal concerns. And there's going to be that conversation and convergence. And it is at that point that you now start to forget about, your ego, I must be, I must not be. You are willing to put down in the larger interest of the nation, and form a government of national unity.
I love that optimism and where it's coming from. And I don't also want to be a prophet of doom, but looking at our, antecedents and how we are when it comes to politicking, we've seen it play out. We've seen it play out cycle in, cycle out. How many politicians, even with what is playing out now, how many of them are, showing us signs of nationhood as opposed to interest?
From what has ever happened in Nigeria.
Yeah, but you know what they say, the marriage that's going to be good, you can tell from the Bachelor's Eve. So now, right now, can we really see any display of nationhood as opposed to what you're saying that we will begin to see? I don't know when.
It's a process that Kwankwaso will come out and stand alone, that ADC will come out and have 12 presidential candidates, and if you profile each of them, they are women and men of substance, that Peter Obi will come out. You see, we can't always be victims of our past. We need to be able to open up and smell the coffee. I'll tell you this. PDP thought this way when they said they will be in power for 60 years, because they thought that you cannot defeat an incumbent. Nigerians did that. NSAS happened where we thought young people would not be able to organize themselves. It happened. Nigeria is a country that you can never say never. Because, and finally, let me end on this note. It is for you and I to dare to be optimistic.
Okay.
We can't all be doing blind analysis. We must have that second cap of daring to be optimistic.
Okay. Opunaboy, I could hear you giggle because I asked that question because the mind of the average voter is what we're playing at here. Now, we like the idea that there are more people that are coming up. Political parties are beginning to own, their place in, the political space. But how do you sway these voters away from the umbrella and the broom? I like the fact that, as he said, the ADC has 12 political presidential aspirants, something that's never really happened before. But then the voter is who we're targeting here. Have we gotten to that point where we have outgrown the PDP and the APC and then begin to say, well, I'm not going to vote for the party, I'm going to vote for a person?
Let me tell you.
I'm sorry. This question is the question is for Opunabo. The question is for Opunabo.
I was one of those that criticized the Supreme Court judgment that said you vote for the parties and not the individuals. Because in Nigeria, the political parties have no ideology. And in Nigeria, the electorate vote for the individuals. They are godfathers and so on. They don't vote for parties. If today your principal is a member of PDP and it defects to another political party, all his followers will defect with him to that political party. It has nothing to do with the party. It has to do with your principle. So if Peter Obi has the clout, for example, as he's leaving the PDP, just as when he left President Abga, those who were his loyalists left with him to PDP. Now he's leaving the PDP. They will all live with him leave the PDP with him to any political party he's going to. So it has nothing to do with the political party. Because we don't, unlike America, where you have ideologies and you believe in the party ideology, and that is why you're a member of that party. In Nigeria, it's not like that. You're a member of that party because your boss is a member, your mentor is a member of that party, and that is why you're a member of that party. So when it comes to followership, it will definitely not going to affect Peter Obi because he's going to live with those that believe in him and those that see him as a mentor. That is the truth about it.
Well, gentlemen, time is not on our side. Well, let's hope upon hope that things would change for the better. Opunabo Nkotara is a political analyst. Ezekiel Nyaitok is a politician. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for speaking with us.
Thank you. I'm going to be very
All right. Well, thank you all for staying with us. We have come to the end of the show tonight, but don't forget, tomorrow is another day. Of course, we will be talking for development, 7 p.m. right here on Plus Politics. I'm Mary Arnacle. Do have a great evening.
So what are the top decisions that the United States considers necessary that Nigeria must take? I like to think of my interactions as conversations, not interviews. And that's why I say asking questions is both an art and a science. Everyone says in Islam you are allowed to have 4 wives. Is it mandatory? The right question enables answers that educate, inform, clarify, and help you, the viewer, to better understand the issue before making up your mind.
Our goal is to reduce from 10 to 2 days the time it takes to register businesses in Nigeria.
Join me every week on this station, Plus TV Africa, and gain exclusive access to my conversations. I'm Angela Ajetumobi.
In raising our kids, parents should stop playing God.
The internet is actually using the people.
But when you're looking for money to help other people, then it becomes easy.
Don't rush into marriage. I always say this. You rush in, you rush out.
Family is the bedrock of every society and the essence of life.
On Today with John and Helen, we dig deep into family values in every sense of the word.
Join us every Saturday at 9:15 a.m. on Plus TV Africa, DSTV channel 408.
With you, we play a part in strengthening the values passed from generation to generation.
Nigeria, by extension, Africa, is faced with a lot of challenges. The growing youth population with little engagement, that is a ticking time bomb. We are a blessed people with diverse culture and highly cerebral minds who have a lot to say. And yes, we are talking. It is important we drive the right conversation that informs, inspires, influences thought and action. If we say there's beauty in our diversity, then let us embrace our diverse culture. We must continue to courageously be the voice of transformation as we are the hope for the future. Yesterday's conversations shape today. What are you saying to shape your tomorrow? We know you have a lot to say, and we are here to hear you.
My name is Adegbenga Badijo. I am a chartered accountant. I choose to be part of the movement to change the narrative from the good old days to looking forward to a better tomorrow. I'm an Ijebu man from Ijebu-Igbo in Ogun State, born and bred in Ilesha, formerly in Western State, later Oyo State, but now Osun State. Though from a middle-class parentage and a humble background, I was born at the prestigious Wesley Guild Hospital Ilesha, with one of the best medical facilities in Nigeria and a retinue of well-trained doctors, nurses, and medical personnel to boot. So I knew this song as a toddler. Ìgbìmọ̀ mi rèjò fi ojú mi rò mí o. Ìgbìmọ̀ mi padà bọ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ mi mọ́ dayọ̀. Ọba rere mọ́jọ̀rọ̀ ẹkún bá mi. I grew up wanting to be a medical doctor. We lived at Kappa in Ilesha, the staff quarters of the Government Teacher Training College Ilesha, where my late dad was a teacher and a tent-making Methodist minister. Incidentally, I visited the compound a year ago, got to the house where we lived, and was taken aback by the level of infrastructural decay. The hitherto green, lush lawns are overgrown with weeds, with indiscriminate subsistence farming going all around the place. As a young man with a humble background, I missed nothing. In fact, when my late dad of blessed memory bought his first ladder saloon car at less than £3,000 with a car loan, I felt we had moved to the upper middle class. I never believed we didn't have what bourgeoisies had. There was no "my car is bigger than your own" mentality. To us, then, education was everything. And this still holds true today as the best inheritance and legacy that can be enduring. We can change the narrative by investing tremendously on rejuvenation of formal and citizens' education across board so that we can restore a value system that engenders transformational and healthy leadership traits for a better tomorrow. Our children deserve a brighter and a better tomorrow, not the good old days. I join Shemore in this collective drive towards a greater tomorrow. Thank you.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshukeye.
Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Events is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely, right? No question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, I know.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity. No.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event on Plus TV.
Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
Hello and welcome to What Are You Saying? #Ways, where we talk about topics in the news as it affects us all. I am Musaiwa Mesale. Hello, ladies.
Hello, Musaiwa man.
Oh my goodness.
They don't know why we are laughing so hard.
Today.
If everybody went out today, they would know that VI traffic was crazy. It was way out of this world. Mama, how was it for you?
I'm lost for words. I have no words this evening.
At all.
I made it. You're traumatized.
I'm traumatized. Completely. And to think that you just walked in about 5 minutes before we actually started the show.
So this makeup was done in like in 5 minutes, literally. Chinelo has taken it a step higher. So we have to bring out the glasses in case if there are errors.
She's in the bar.
It's not noticed. But we have Jennifer joining us live from Abuja. Hello, Jenny, baby.
Hi.
Jennifer.
Jennifer, I'm happy that you're not in Lagos.
I heard that there's serious traffic. I'm so sorry, I can't relate.
Please
and don't relate.
Look at how fresh you're looking. That's why you can't relate.
When did you go to the Abuja and you're not turning to a snob? Really? Really? You cannot relate. Don't worry. The traffic is waiting for you when you come back.
With open arms.
I sympathize with you.
But how is Abuja though? How is Abuja?
It's fine.
So what's
I
happening?
I don't know, burdened with a lot of work. So these days I close really late. I'm up and down. I'm having countless meetings. So yeah, it's been a tough one, but we thank God.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us, because it's not been easy trying to get you to be on the show.
I know.
Because the workload has been really...
Apologies.
We know, we understand. We know that if you could, you would. All right, so today we have an interesting conversation. That's why we have to drag Jenny baby into the conversation. We're discussing, you know how it seems like every woman is waiting, or a young girl is waiting for a man to, what's it called, just be the person. To rescue her, be the person that sorts all her bills and all of that. We listened to an audio online that broke this today. It was all over social media. So I said, you know what, I think it's worth having that conversation.
Yeah.
How are women wired, right? Are young girls wired to just be dependent on men, especially when it comes to their finances and everything about them? So that's the conversation we're having today. And here's what we found as today's quote. Money only impresses lazy girls. When a woman works hard, a man with money is a bonus, not a ladder to upgrade. So this quote really sits nicely to the conversation that we're having today, because we saw a voice recording that surfaced earlier on, as I mentioned, on Linda Ikeji's blog, of a lady expressing why she can't go below certain standard or accept a certain level in a man because she is female. She said, I think we're going to play the audio someday, you listen to it yourself. So it's our ladies' night out, and Utsi, Nama, Jenny and I will be discussing the topic, are girls wired to totally depend, to be totally dependent on men? And when we open our phone lines, we really love to hear what you have to say about this. But first, let's take a break to see what we found in the news. All right, you're still watching Ways. On May 26th each year, National Paper Airplane Day honors the simple aeronautical toy that has been around for thousands of years. National Paper Airplane Day provides an excuse to play. This intense, inexpensive, healthy, and stimulating form of entertainment brings lots of joy and, you know, laughter too. In other words, put down your cell phones, you know, your smartphones, and get outside for some primitive fun. This is so beautiful. How many of us made airplanes, paper planes?
Not today, but in the course of the week, my son actually made one. I was flying it around. Maybe he had foresight that day was.
No, I said, did you as a child? Of course.
Okay, as a child. Oh, sure. I made
did.
all sorts, you know, and part of what I did
with
was
paper.
And we used to
did you
sort of have competitions.
Did you do the boat one?
Oh sure.
Create all our
We
boats.
had wonderful outdoor experience as children. Actually, I'm not sure a lot of children have those moments now with the gadgets and all the distractions.
They can't think.
You'll be shouting if your own boat is going faster than the
Jennifer, did you do any of this? Hello, Jennifer. Oh, where is she?
Sorry, I didn't get that. What did you say?
Did you do the paper plane? Did you create paper planes with paper to fly around the house while you were young?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I think I even did one. I did one with. There was even the one for leaves. Okay, no, I think the one for leaves was fun.
Yes. You would poke holes into it, and then you'd be running with it.
And we did the kite. We did everything. It was really epic. Fun memories. All right, so let's go to what we found in the news. I think it's Norma. Or who's ready?
Is Jennifer?
I don't think Jennifer has a news for us.
Okay. So let me, Norma, do I take?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Issy.
So my story is a tragic one, and I had to go all the way to Senegal to get the story. The story resonated with me because it has to do with newborn babies, and it says that 11 babies die in Senegal hospital fire, and it's a real tragic one. It's heartbreaking. I don't know what the parents are going through currently, and it says that 11 newborn babies died in the hospital, and the president says this. The president said this. Said that it happened yesterday, and that's Wednesday, and he said that he learned about it, and with pain and dismay, that the deaths of the newborn babies that were gutted in the fire. So it's a painful experience for any parent to go through this, and because of that, he said that in his words, he said to their mothers and their families, "I express my deepest sympathy," as he tweeted. Now, this, like I stated earlier, because it has to do with children, it actually resonated with me, and you know, it's a painful experience for a woman to go through, you know, the gestation period of having the child for 9 months, and afterwards to lose the child to the world. And with that, we express our deepest condolences to the family. Yes,
condolences. Yeah. All right, so Norma, your story.
Okay, mine is on the victory for PDP primaries. So the story goes that Jandor clinches the PDP gubernatorial ticket in Lagos. So the lead visionary, Lagos for Lagos movement, Dr. Olajide Adediran Jandor, on yesterday, clinched the PDP ticket for 2023 governorship elections in Lagos State. So declaring the result in Ikeja, the chairman of the Lagos PDP Electoral Committee, returning officer Mr. Emmanuel Ogidi, said that Adediran scored 679 votes to defeat his contender, Mr. David Ovon, who polled only 20 votes. Ogidi, who noted that there were 775 ad hoc delegates for the primaries, said that only 709 were accredited, while 10 votes were voided in the elections. So it's congrats to Jandor for picking up the ticket for PDP. I believe today the APC primaries was taking place. We don't have the results yet. So the whole political scene is beginning to become interesting. Yes.
He's getting into. I just wanted to quickly point out, because me, I've been on this Banky W matter. So I just a post just came out just before we came on air on Linda KG blog where they were alleging that PDP Banky W did not win the
primaries.
He didn't win the primaries for the what's it called the House of Representative ticket for Etiosa, but he was declared winner by a large margin, defeating his. So I don't know. There's a lot of things going around that Banky W.
The politicking has already
So
started.
my story is actually tied to the governorship, stuff in Lagos with the APC. And it says the governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, restricted one of the governorship primary election, the Lagos State Governorship Primary Election Committee of APC, All Progressive Congress, on Thursday barred one of the aspirants, right, from the venue of the primaries at Teslim Balogun Stadium in Surulere today. Now, it says, we don't know what the situation is, but the committee prevented the contender of the incumbent governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, his name is Abdul Ahmed Mustafa, from the venue. Mustafa was a former permanent secretary, Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources in Lagos. He resigned about 14 months ago and had picked up the ticket, and this ticket cost 15 million naira. So I don't understand the
reason
for restricting him from the venue. And is this an offense that can be is suable? I don't understand how it works, because why would you? I mean, if I spend 50 million to pick up a ticket, I have a right, the same right you have, to be in the venue whilst the delegates and all of that are voting and all of that. But we understand the politics that happens within those delegations and all of that. I mean, I was saying it yesterday that the former Vice President Sambo, his son has asked all the delegates to return his 2 million naira that he gave them. We know what happens with all these delegates, how they bribe and all of those things just to get, the votes from the delegates. Why would you restrict or bar the person that is an aspirant like you? I mean, this is so wrong. I don't think on all levels it doesn't make any sense.
Even though they still said that in his absence that he still had a right to be voted for.
Of course, he will be voted for. But
when you are not present,
you have to be present to see.
There's a huge difference.
Your agents are there. Everybody's watching. Because again, people we have given money to, you have to monitor that. Do you understand? There's a lot going on in politics. So it is when people start to act like this. First of all, I see a sign of desperation. And why are you afraid? If you really are confident that you can go on a second run and get that ticket, you don't have to restrict another person from running for the office. You understand? So I don't know why this happened, but it is uncalled for, and I want to know if it is an offense that is suable or something. If they can sue him for that,
sort of libel.
Case they have
the party.
No, not about the party. It's about
the committee, whatever it is
involved in this. I think.
All right. So, but I want us to discuss politics on Monday because a lot happened. I mean, I saw that this lady, what's her name? I forgot her name, in Kogi State. The billionaire's wife. She won her senatorial seat ticket, right?
Okay.
And they said she just joined PDP 2 months ago.
Well,
so I want to understand
the
implications of those kind of things.
Could it be what you're bringing to the table?
Which influence? Influence what? It's money.
Of course, there are vested interests.
Too many. Let's take a break. When we come back from the break, we want to discuss money and women. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
girl, somebody I'll marry will be staying in the city now. Somebody I'll marry will be staying in Lagos or Abuja or Dubai or Texas or Washington.
Wow.
You get. But you as a guy now, you can marry a girl that stays in the village because you're the one that's going to marry her. She's not going to marry you. But me, they are going to marry me. I'm not going to marry them. So I can't go less. I'm a girl. I can't go below my standards. But you as a guy, you can go below your standards.
All right, so thanks for staying with us now. New YouGov data shows that in many couples, women rely on their partner to get by financially, even if they work full-time themselves, while among men, it's much rarer. Around a third of all women with a partner are entirely, that's 6% or somewhat 29% dependent on their other half. Now this is only true for 11% of men with a spouse, including just 3% who are completely reliant on the other. It is not uncommon to find women who fall under this bucket, right? And whatever the cause or case might be, today we are asking if girls are wired to be totally dependent on men, to think like this young girl. Because sadly, it is what is popular out there, right? That is the popular belief that, you know, a woman should not strive to do anything, don't buy a house and all of that. Are women wired to be totally dependent on men? Now, please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-4663. You can also tweet at us at Wayshow after one of the hashtag Wayshow. You know, so it's this conversation, when I heard this audio, everybody was just backlashing the girl and all of that. But I was like, come, this thing is something that we're all wired with. I remember that, you know, as a young girl, you just finish university and everything, you're getting a job. They will tell you, your parents will tell you, don't buy a car. Even if you could afford to buy a house, do not buy a house. Do not buy a car, do not buy a house, because it scares the man away, you know, and all of that. But lately, a lot of independent girls are, you know, are damning the consequences, and they're just living their lives and hoping that, okay, a confident man will come into the picture. But women generally, I believe, are wired, you know, not to aspire so much. Yes, it's good for you to get your degree and all that, but don't go too far, because at the end of the day, there will still be a man to take care of you, you know, your needs and all of that. And sadly, it has subtly crept into our subconscious that even for women that have the capacity, right, to run global organizations, you see them playing small, because again, they have been programmed to believe that they don't really need to do much. But let me come to Jenny Baby first. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Our feminist.
Honestly, listening to that audio, I'm honestly not surprised. And that's because a lot of us women have been wired to be dependent on the man. And if you actually look at it, even the men have also been wired to have their women depend on them.
Yes.
Now, people might want to attack the lady and all of that, but then that's how the society has groomed us, both male and female. You have men who feel a certain type of way if their partner or their spouse earns way more than them. So they feel like, oh, it means that you're going to be the head of the house or something like that. So it goes both ways. But now when you streamline it down to what this lady is saying, so basically she wants the guy to provide for everything. Maybe because, oh, he lives abroad, or the kind of job that he's doing, he's earning power and all of that. And those are things, if we are being honest, those are things to actually consider if you are going to be with somebody forever. As a man, I think you also need to consider how much your wife or your girlfriend is earning and all of that, because if you have to consider bringing a child into this world, those are things that you need to put into place. But now talking about dependency, it goes, I mean, this conversation is very, very broad. It's very broad in the sense that you have ladies who haven't unlearned this part of them, this thing, this inbuilt, how do I put it now? I don't know the English to use. The way the society has built us to believe that, I mean, our entire life is solely dependent on the man. Everything we do is for the man. And these days, you meet young ladies who are trying to break that barrier, who are trying to break that status quo because they want to make their own money. They want to make a name for themselves. They want to be heard. They want to be able to afford the basic things in their lives. And I would implore ladies to know that, well, there's a saying that says money stops nonsense. And it's the honest truth. So if you have to depend on a man for everything that you need, you should know that it comes with a lot of consequences, because you have these men these days who feel like they can buy you, and you don't get the respect that you deserve or that you need. But it doesn't stop the fact that even as a woman, I mean, I make my own money, I work day in, day out, and I still get disrespected. Like,
but even
it doesn't take away, so it doesn't take away the respect.
Even if you are making your money, Jennifer, I can bet you for free that if anything happens today, you say, of course, it's no. The way we are subconsciously wired, I will not spend my money. The man has to bring the money.
So the thing, I mean, look at it. So basically, as a lady, if you're going out, you meet a guy for the first time, you're not expected to pay the bills for your date. You invited me out, so obviously you're going to handle the bills. Sorry, but I don't think we've gotten to the level where, if as a lady I'm the one asking the guy out on a date, if I am supposed to pay. So there are levels to this. There are levels to this conversation, and I feel like if we have to make a headway, everyone has to be open-minded about these things. But a lot of us are actually closed-minded, and that's because people don't want to buy into what they don't know, what they've not experienced. I've not experienced it, so I don't want to know. I'm just going to stick with what I currently know and what is working for me. So the way the lady, everything that she said, there are people it is working for. I mean, you have men that are sorting the bills of a lot of women. You get married, he's flying you out, he's paying for your clothes, for your feeding, for everything. You're practically not spending anything. I mean, that's the dream, right? But then that's not the reality for a lot of us.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll let other people speak.
So because, you know, what I heard from that video when she said that, the guy should live in Texas, so she felt like it is okay if I'm living in my Ajegule house. Because I do not need to aspire to own a house in VGC or a house in Texas or in whatever. She said, because I'm not the one going to go and marry. He's the one that is coming to marry me. So let me be in my hole. Let me be in my village. He will come and meet me there. But let me hear your thoughts on this, Norma and Isi.
Well, the truth of it is that whether we like it or not, culture has wired us, has programmed us. Africans are very cultural. I know other parts of the world it also applies, where you have women who are dependent on men. And the general saying, even that we know that is really common, it's a man's world. So no matter what you want to aspire to become, if you don't have that covering, right? If you don't have that canopy or seal or endorsement, it's like all of what you have attained does not measure up. And that's why, you know, some of the parents back in the days would tell them, well, even if you're successful, you know, put yourself in some kind of humble state. Don't buy a car, don't buy a house, so that at least you look humble enough to be married, as if the man is doing you a favor at the end of the day. So a lot of young people, but I mean, with Gen Zs and different thinking now, they're damning the consequences and they're living their life. So you see a lot of them, they're doing well, you know, with their cars, going to buy their houses or rent properties for themselves. Basically, there's the wiring for the men and the women. So for men, the wiring is of dominance. They are already, you know, it's like back in the days where you see the girl is told to go to the kitchen. while the boy can sit down and watch TV with his dad, because that is the mindset, or that's the way a man is seen. So for the man as well, his wiring, his programming is also that a woman is for procreation. When I'm ready to get married, I will just find the woman that fits and who can give me children. That's what I'm looking for. That's why back in the day, some climes and religions used to actually make sure that the woman can get pregnant first before they get married. So most of the times the brides were usually pregnant because they wanted to be sure if you were fertile enough to bring forth children. And then power. Men have been programmed to feel powerful over women,
especially when they are able to provide,
and entitled, especially when they have the money. So it's like they're doing you a favor, and you're just like another trophy that is added to my collection, or you know, on my set and all of that. And then for the women, you have women who are programmed to that they're, you know, for the kitchen. So you don't amount it to anything but. And that's why some clients, again, you see, oh, they're telling you, oh, you have to, you know, you know, be a homemaker. You must take care of your home. You cook for your husband. Some of those things. Imagine when I got married. Well, I'm from a house where it wasn't whether you are male or female. Every one of us knows how to cook, but we knew how to. We were all domesticated. But I got into a marriage where I had in mind I'm cooking for 14 people, 20 people, and I had a husband that would come by and say, I think I'll take cornflakes, or I think I'll just take an apple. So all of that programming, I had to begin to unlearn some of it, because it's not all men that are like that, but most are wired for that purpose. So women just think that every man is like, also all of my duty is just to be that homemaker and somebody that can take care of the home. And then another thing that the women are looking for is security. A lot of women, so you see women who have very good paying jobs, but you just want to feel secured, knowing that the man is responsible enough to take care of the home, to provide for the home. Absolutely. You are looking for somebody who can provide, who can take care of the, who is responsible. And in these times too, where a lot of men are really irresponsible, so they just claim that they're married, but they're not providing for their homes. They're not. So you see, the woman is everything, doing everything, and it can put a burden on the world. So all of this programming can distort relationships and can cause a lot of conflicts. And for women, for us to truly enjoy relationship, we must unlearn certain things, because in each relationship there are things that do not apply.
I was just going to quickly say something before I come to you, EC. It's not only limited to Africans, because I remember there was a video we saw. Well, maybe because she's African American, but it's not limited to just the African culture. Even outside of the country, in Western world, you still see. I mean, the girl was saying the guy had broken up with her. Said no, that he upgraded her lifestyle to this particular level. Remember that video?
Yes.
He said so he cannot just back out now. He has to keep paying the bills until somebody else comes back. I mean, this thing is something that is naturally programmed. And I'm seeing that this is what has further fulfilled this Ron's girl business
persona.
You know, it has filled it so well that girls just wait and say, you know what, let me just go and do BBL. If I do BBL, you know, I don't need to do anything. There will just be one man, you know, giving me money, or like 2 or 3 men somewhere. It has also encouraged this this lifestyle of big girl, small god, a big god,
big girl, no,
small girl. But let me come to you, EC.
Okay, so look, I think we've dissected this topic from diverse points, but there is also one concept we did not actually look at. There is idealism and there is realism. We know that the society is a masculine society, of course, but however, look at the idealistic point of view. Like, I think we've talked about this before, where we talked about the fact that when we are grooming the girl child, we wire the thing into her head that, oh, that when she grows up, that she'll get married to a man, or she gets married to a Prince Charming who will come and sweep her off her feet, and solve all her problems, you know. And this is the beginning of things like that being wired into the girl child. Now, another concept we should also look at, that is for idealism. However, the realism is that we have not actually given the girl child the reality of, being in a relationship or being with, interacting in the society, the culture, the dynamism of the environment they found themselves. That is a crucial part which we have not actually touched on. So in the course of us doing all of this, the concept of us, looking at it from a diverse point of view is crucial. What are those points of view? You've touched on some of them. But we have the fact that it's background. We have our background to actually look into. Look at this. If I listen to the lady that was talking, yes, we can backlash her. Yes, it's her way of thinking. I remember when we were in Ekpoma back then, some people said that there was this girl who was walking to the farm, and she had what's it called? Firewood and basket on her head, and some jeep just stopped and picked her up and decided to marry her there because he wanted a wife who was homely, who was good. And believe me, almost all my girls were carrying baskets on their head because they wanted to, get the boy with the jeep. Who doesn't want to be cared for?
No, but this thing you were even saying,
yes,
Cinderella, when you talked about charming,
happily ever
after.
But look at cartoons where we grew up watching Cinderella. Yes. She was poor. She was cleaning house. She was rich. And all of a sudden, one prince that is rich and all of that comes to marry. So this thing is ingrained in our DNA.
Society. However, like I stated, the reality on ground is that there ain't no Prince Charming coming to take you away. However, we ladies we talked about the fact that security plays a huge role for us. Yes, we ladies want to be cared for. Who doesn't want to be pampered? Everybody wants to be pampered, including the men themselves. And that's why we see that some men today, they're not actually stepping up to the plate. What do? They would rather get married to a woman who can actually take care of their bills or step up or have something that she's contributing to the family. Nobody wants a liability at the end of the day. It's a society where not only have they wired the women, let me put it in such a way that it's kind of eclectic, because it's a combination of too many things, basically. The men have been wired in such a way that the women are subservient to them. However, the men wouldn't want a situation whereby the woman is totally subservient to them. They want a situation whereby the woman can also bring something to the plate and to the home, and not a liability to the family.
You said don't they cause trouble. Maybe take break.
I'm stating the reality. Like I stated, we have reality and we have idealism.
Okay, let's take a break. I want to open our phone lines. As it is right now, it's like I want to relocate to Ajegule. Somebody from Banana Island will come and marry me. It will not work. Stay with us, we'll be right back. All right, so if you just tuned in, it's our ladies' night out, and we're discussing the question: are girls wired to be totally dependent on men? Now, please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-4663. You can also tweet at us at WayShowAfrica1 with the hashtag WayShow. And our phone line is now open. You know the rules. Turn off the volume of your television set when you're calling, and the number to call is 07025007749. All right, so in case you didn't hear the audio, in the first segment, we had played an audio where a girl was saying that she doesn't have to do so much. She just needs to stay where she is. It is the man that is looking for marriage. Now then come to marry. So, she doesn't need to have a particular standard of living. So it is okay for her to be anywhere, let the prince, but she does not want anybody on her level. She was talking to a guy. Now you are on my level. No. I need somebody that is like above my level. So she doesn't feel like she needs to be part of that journey to increase the leveling. You understand? She just needs to stay where she is. And be upgraded. Simple. But let me come to you, Jennifer. Right?
She's still there.
Yeah, she's there. So how young people are, like singles, right? How it's almost difficult. Are you still at that point where you are forced to bring down your standards and all of that because you're trying to find a man that would not be afraid of, because now I think guys are targeting the girls that have money.
Flyers.
So I don't even understand where this girl is coming from. But let me hear your thoughts. As being single, what do you think it's the market is like right now?
I would say the market is very modest. The reason is this year, I think over time I've been able to view myself, I've been able to learn a lot of things about myself and what I want exactly out of life, a partner and all of that. So it's very easy for me when I meet men, it's very easy for me to meet them out. You have a lot of men, they have money, but they're not all they can bring to the table. What else? Aside your money, please tell me, what else are you giving me? Nothing. So if that's the only thing you have to offer me, then I don't think I can be with you. And I know that our preferences are different. Yeah, we all have our different choices. We all have we have all the boxes that we expect a man to tick. And for me, I have a good job, do well for yourself and all of that, but then there is so much more to a relationship or a marriage than that. I don't think I've ever wanted to lower my standards just to meet up to a man. I remember when I was moving out of my father's house, and my dad goes, "Oh, if you move out, men will think that you're wayward. You have your parents living in Lagos, so why are you going to get an apartment? And why not stay here? Let the man come and marry you." And I looked at my father and I told him, "See, any man who feels or thinks that way about me because I am going to live on my own to take care of myself, I'm using my own money, if you feel some type of way about it, then I'm obviously not for you." And then at the time I mentioned about how I wanted to buy a car, and I got the same conversation again. "Oh, if you buy a car, he will think that, oh, you're earning way more than he is. He's going to feel intimidated and all of that." And I feel like, "Oh, you carry your shoulders up, you might not respect him." And I said, "See, it's even perfect. Like, it's just made it very easy for me to actually buy this car because I know once I have it, if that is the criteria, or that's how these men start looking at it, that's not for me. It doesn't mean that you're not for me. There's no two ways about it. I'm not even trying to argue that with anybody. Just don't come close to me because I know exactly what I want. But then again, it's not a one-size-fits-all for everybody. We all have how we want. We all know how we want our life to be. We all know what we want from a partner. So what I want might totally be different from another person. I've met women who cannot date a guy that has a 9-to-5 job. They can't date you if you have only one stream of income. They can't date you if you only count your money in thousands. They can't be with you if you only count your millions. They want people who are up there. And that's one thing that she mentioned. The girl in the audience said that she would rather marry up. Jonathan, as a woman, she's supposed to marry up. But as a man, she has the liberty and the free will to actually marry down. And if we're being honest, that's the truth.
But wait, Jennifer. All these women rights and what's it called? Equal equity that we are preaching. If the man can marry down, why can't the woman marry down? Why can't she go and say, "You know what, I have made enough money. It is not money that I'm looking for in a relationship. I'm looking for a husband that would be with me, a partner that would grow together." Why can't she marry down? Why must we always wait and say, a woman must...
If you look at the past, especially Yoruba women, then these Yoruba women, they're lineage, like all women that self-fabric and all. If you check their marriages, a lot of them marry down, and that's the honest truth. But the thing is, women hide this thing, and that's because their husbands cannot take it. How many men today, if you ask them, just think all of them out and line them up, how many of you are confident and you're okay with your wife earning way more than you do? Maybe 2 times or 3 times or 4 times than what you currently earn. A lot of them cannot stand it. If we've seen
that's true.
The woman that has the money,
I had a
men cannot stand it.
Absolutely.
They have to shield shield the public from knowing that, oh,
yeah,
it's the wife
that is paying the bills. Well, I had a conversation with someone today, and she said that, you know, her friend just got a job. She was promoted. She got a big job, bigger pay and everything, but she needed to be moved to Ibadan. That she had to decline the work. She had to defer the work. You know, because in all honesty, men can't stand that the fact that some men, let me not generalize.
Not all men.
Some men can't stand that a woman is independent. She's doing things on her own. She's making a lot of money. So again, you see, this thing is a big problem. If we say we want to find a solution to this problem, because this is actually eating us up. That's why we have a lot of girls sitting down idle, not doing anything, believing that one man will come somewhere and start to pay their bills. You know, even us, as we did like this, if anybody, can you afford? you know, that's the conversation. You see, even women that are married, you know, in the home, they are not even thinking of, oh, how can I match up whatever income that hobby is bringing to the table? Because you do not even, it doesn't occur to you as a woman that you actually can do things to also earn, if not even higher, than the person that you're with. So we've just been wired to just be docile.
If I may step in, another thing you need to also consider in this aspect of earning higher and lower, and the fact that the lady in that audio stated that she didn't want to deal with someone who was on her level.
To marry down. Yes,
to marry down. One thing you should also take into cognizance is it's not about the environment. It's about the person you are attracted to. Some people might just find themselves in that particular environment, but they do have a lot to offer. Basically, the way they're thinking, the intellect, their aspirations, their visions, what they want to do. I've seen a situation, not even once, not even twice, I've seen a situation whereby we have individuals who marry, or ladies who marry people who are of a lower pedigree, and these are the men at the end of the day that actually left the family. So there are other things like that that actually occur. So you can't say you
can't generalize. Let's take our first caller for the evening, Abraham from Abuja. Thank you for calling.
Yeah, good evening.
Hi, Abraham.
I think I'm enjoying this topic this evening because I earlier had this conversation with somebody, and I think I'll just pick up from where I'm talking from.
Abraham, we're having difficulty hearing you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay. I'm saying that I'm picking up from where one of the speakers left out, saying that some men cannot stand their wife earning more than them.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think that's supposed to be a conversation between the husband and the wife, agreeing, understanding each other's role. And if the woman understands that my husband is my husband, so because I'm earning more than him and I'm supporting the family, doesn't displace him from who he is, I don't think there will really be an issue.
Thank you.
That's one. The second thing is, are we wired to be dependent on men? I think from home, usually before now, generations before now, it wasn't like this. I think it's time that it's changing, that is bringing this conceptualization and is really affecting the person. So I just think it's a good topic you guys are treating, and maybe
all right, thank you, Abraham. We're having a bit of difficulty hearing you, but I think I got the crux of what you're trying to say. That it's supposed to be between parties. When you say that earn more than whatever, it is between the man and, well, that's true. Every relationship is actually unique. Some men are comfortable, you know, and, you know, just allowing the woman to go and be the high flyer, get all the big bucks and all of that. I get you, and you're 100% correct. Let's take some comments then.
Okay. I have this one from Mufoma. So it says, hello, Ways ladies. Norma, your analysis of the subject matter is spot on. Men date, marry down to a woman who looks up to them, respects and appreciates them, but women marry up to a man who can provide and they can revere. In the animal kingdom, females watch males fight, sometimes to death, and the victorious male is usually strongest and healthiest, has mating rights with the female to father the next generation.
Okay.
But we as humans have evolved an economic system based on money, where you don't have to physically fight, but have to provide economically for school, health, holiday, domestic staff, etc. Men derive satisfaction from providing and protecting, and women derive satisfaction from nurturing with available resources. It's female hypergamy and is present in animals and humans. Real men should accept this reality, but choose a partner carefully.
Okay,
Thank
how
you,
about
Foma.
you, Missy?
Well said. What
Choose
wondrous
a
analysis.
Choose a partner carefully. I like that. So this is from Tammy, and he says, or she says, some parents from poor backgrounds push their girl child to go get boyfriend to meet their financial needs. The sense of entitlement and dependency is nurtured and imposed by some society.
Okay, Jennifer, you have a comment? Is she there? Oh, she's frozen. All right, let me take her comment. So, good evening, ladies. Society and culture made most girls think that their lives depend on men for survival. Growing up, my dad raised us girls to be independent and ensured we didn't feel inferior to boys. I grew up knowing I can compete with any man. As a married woman working, I expected my husband to provide for our family. But a few years back, he was sick. I was able to use the savings, take care of the bills, which and run the family. I plead parents should bring up their girl children, know their self-worth, be independent, so that whatever happens in their adult life, they will not be thrown off balance and confused. Modern women should always think that, like biblical Proverbs 31 woman who invests, buys property, and commands respect. Thanks, ladies. Thank you so much, BC. This is from BC. All right, so it's an interesting conversation, right? But you see, this wiring that we have as women, do you think it serves us? But I think I have a caller. Let me take a call first. Tony from Warri, thank you for calling. You're live. Hello, are you there? Oh, sugar, we lost him. Okay. So what is it costing us, having us think like this? Because I know that for the longest of time, I made the choice not to have a 9-to-5. I wanted to, because marriage, pregnancy, everything, I wanted to be with my children, to be available to take care of my children again, because you hear all the horrific stories and all of that. But it just happened that time just went by. And, of course, when it comes to jobs, there is a certain age you get to that you can no longer get the graduate trainee jobs and all of that. So that's how life happened to me. Women. Life happened to me like that. But I think we have Tony's back, I think, from Warri. You're live. Hello, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there.
Go ahead, please.
Hello?
Yes, Anthony, we can hear you. You're live.
Hello?
Go ahead, you're live. We can hear you.
Okay. Hello?
Oh, wow. I think you're still having trouble. So for me, life happened to me, and it now seemed like, I got to the point where every single thing, up to down to your sanitary pads and all of that, you don't really have any source of income, right? Even though I was running a business, it's still subconscious in my mind that. So I had to, recent years, I started telling myself that it is okay if you pay your bills. If it is okay if you go to a restaurant and actually pay for your meal. Absolutely. It is. So I started subconsciously, trying to scramble. Yes, to scramble that thought that I do not have to depend. Yes, even though you have someone there that is supposed to be a husband. Support. Yes, you understand, like a support. It doesn't mean that every single thing that has to do with your life, your clothes, your this, your that, because don't forget that as women, we are wired to be spenders. Women, actually, we are not meant to just be, you have a lot of needs. If I sit down now, I can tell you 1,000,001 things if you give me a millionaire in 10 minutes,
It's gone.
it will go in 10 minutes.
Totally.
That's how much of needs that we always want to do. Is it that we want to make our hair, want to do this, want to do that? So why would you now as a person just sit down? It will crop up, right? I mean, money doesn't just stay like that because you actually have a lot of things that you want to do with money. So why can't we start to think of how to generate that income? Why must we sit down and say, you know what, we are waiting for a man, even if the man is your husband, right? It does not give you any right as a person to think that that person must be, you know, your all in all, because it breeds disrespect. Everything. But let me bring in our caller, then I would youngest old man. Oh, you're live.
Oh, good evening.
Hi.
Long time no here.
Yes,
we are busy with the delegate business. You know, we are the new wives in town now. The delegates are the new wives in town.
Yes,
so people, you know, the kind of hotels, the calls you get with some sweet tones,
and they give you some envelopes.
So this is our season. In fact, we are the main problem.
You wish you enjoy yo.
Our old Jerry, don't mind them. God day. Well, you see, the issue is that I had a lot to say, but there's a comment you read from that lady. It kind of calmed me down that I think I understand that the world knows the truth about how creation gives men, you understand, some certain responsibilities, and the female with their own responsibility. However, along the way, if anything turns, I think we have the capacity to adjust and understand that this is not it's something, it's a one-off thing. It's not a change of lifestyle. For example, we all expect the man to be the provider, and if things table turns around, it now comes that the woman should provide. I think there should be an understanding that it's a one-off situation, but we can't change the total creation of that dependence. In fact, let me tell you, if a woman is the richest, if she has everything, she still want to get it from a man.
Yes,
it's natural. So that is just how God creates his own thing. I don't really know how he does it, but that is how we are. So that lady's comment calmed me down. Okay. So we need to reread that comment and understand what she said, and that is just the truth.
Thank you. All right, so let's take more comments.
Yeah, in fact, you took the words out of me. I think when we understand the dynamics and the uniqueness of each relationship, then it makes it easier to adapt.
Totally.
Okay, so I have this comment, and it says, "Good evening, my dear beautiful sisters," or what are you saying? We already know who it is.
Yes, Daniel.
Hashtag ways. The question is, are girls wired to be totally dependent on men? The answer is yes, and vice versa. To some girls, for their own relationship to be solid, to favor them, the man must be fully loaded and wealthy. Trust me, some girls really love their men because of what they have, not for who they are. I can bet you that when it comes to a time that the man cannot fend for his girl, the lady decides to end the relationship.
Totally.
That lady becomes lazy and a liability. Men always want to call the shots because they are the breadwinners. My name is Daniel. Wade's regular fan.
Quickly, your comments.
So
Thank you, Daniel.
This is the comment goes this way. It says, if a woman earns more than her partner, with time she will lose respect for him, especially if she meets people better than her and her husband. Female hypergamy is women's way of picking the best option available to them to father their kids. This is from Frank.
I was going to say respect.
Agree with that.
Respect is both ways.
Yeah.
If a man is buying down to your sanitary pad, a man is buying it for you, you cannot afford to buy anything for yourself. The man will also disrespect you. So disrespect is both ways. Let me take our final caller for the evening. Hello, you're live. Hassan, you're live. Is he there? Oh, I think it's a network problem. You know, so, I mean, because when you talk about respect, that was where I was going with the conversation, that it got to that point where I said, well, you need to start to, you know, I mean, God gave you brains, gave you 2 hands, gave you 2 legs. Yes, okay. So what do you need to do? And I started quietly building a career for myself, right? So, I mean, it's never too late to start. But when you now get to that point where you are just there's nothing you're contributing, you're not bringing nothing to the table, right? It doesn't make any sense. So you now sit down and all you're thinking of is how to breed the next child or how to do, so it doesn't make any sense for me.
Can I quickly add that for men who may not be the one who has the earning power, maybe the woman that has the earning power, at the end of the day, if you also do not respect that woman and the fact that she is helping the family or she is holding the family together, it's going to bring contention, because some men ego comes in and they begin to
half and puff.
Exactly. And this woman is literally trying to put the home together, and you are not even being grateful, or you're not even being supportive. You may not be the one bringing the money or the cheese, but at least that support, advice, or
Auntie women, please bring in the cheese. No, it's true, because when God created us, they didn't say this was male brain, female brain, or whatever capacity. God gives every human being the capacity to do great things. So all this wiring that we have been wired to think that we need a man for sustenance, it makes no sense. We need to start scrambling that thing from a medulla oblongata. Oblongata, whatever. On that note, did we lose Jennifer? Thank you so much, guys. I think we had fun with this topic. Oh, Jennifer. Thank you, Norma. Thank you. All right, before we go, do ensure you follow us on Instagram at Way Show Africa. You can interact with us further, drop a comment, and more importantly, follow all our engagements on social media. Like, share, invite your families and friends to watch and follow the conversation. I just wanted to add, instead of asking men for money, ask them for work. Tell them to give you work to
pay
do.
You for
so
the
you can use your brain and pay and get the money. I mean, that's what I asked for. Money, if in case you missed our quotes, here it is again. Money only impresses lazy girls. When a woman works hard, a man with money is just a bonus, not a ladder to upgrade. Come on. See you guys live at 8 p.m. as we bring another great conversation to your screen.
Nigeria's Niger Delta region, from where the black gold fuels Africa's largest economy, where the lines between wealth and poverty has never been thinner. Conflicts, poverty, insecurity, and environmental challenges daily confront the region. How can the Niger Delta story be changed for the better?
Join Mamode Akuga at 9 p.m. every Friday evening on Plus TV Africa as he probes deep in search of solutions.
Inside the Niger Delta with Mamode Akuga, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region.
In raising our kids, parents should stop playing God.
The internet is actually using the people.
But when you are looking for money to help other people, then it becomes easy.
Don't rush into marriage. I always say this. You rush in, you rush out.
Family is the bedrock of every society and the essence of life.
On Today with John and Helen, we dig deep into family values in every sense of the word.
Join us every Saturday at 9:15 a.m. on Plus TV Africa, DSTV channel 408.
With you, we play a part in strengthening the values passed from generation to generation.
This is the lounge, the TW Conversation Lounge, where we talk about everything and anything that matters to you and to everybody at home, but to us more importantly, it's our opinions we share. Now, today we're going to be talking about the other woman. Today I am the main woman. These are the other women. So I'll quickly introduce my other women very quickly. And in the house, we have Ifoma Edigbe, our one and only financial analyst who has a bee in her bonnet for men because of her foundation that's called Boys to Men. And then sitting right next to her is I keep saying this Aburu thing, right? This is my Aburu. Looking very yella, serial entrepreneur, banker turned businesswoman, great event coordinator today, producer, presenter of the event show. And then on my immediate left is my sweet baby, you. Looking very elegant. You know, you see all these people from the middle belt, there's something about them, their voice. You know, it's kind of like mede. You know, Mariam Longe is a co-host on the TVC show that's called Your View. Today we'll be hearing her view on the other woman. And of course, my one and only woman who takes care of women who are having babies for the first time through her own, Anne. Anne is the newborn coach, but also she's a budding producer, budding presenter, mother and wife, and a lawyer by training. Gracias. This is the conversation line. The conversations will begin shortly.
Like me.
Welcome back to the lounge. We're speaking about the other woman. There's so many perceptions, negative, positive, so we want to just have this conversation. Who really is the other woman? Let's start from there.
Yeah, let me start by saying you didn't even want to talk about this. I don't even know why.
No.
Eh? Are you the other woman?
And you don't want to imagine having somebody who's the other woman around your government, right? So
no, but I think it maybe definitions are right because I was the one that brought up this topic.
Okay.
And the reason why did I even think about it? I feel that the other woman is so demonized. When you say the other woman, I mean, I don't know whether I'm correct or wrong. The first thing that comes to your head is this girl is nasty. She wants to get my guy. Do you get what I mean? Yeah. But is that always the case?
Well, I don't, you see, it's not, of course she's nasty. Wow. And of course that's what the case is. But that's the truth. You know
She's nasty.
She is nasty. Because, I mean, you know the guy is married, right? But a lot of times, it's also what the guys say to them. I mean, they come at you and they say to you that, oh, I'm having troubled marriage. In fact, it's really over between my wife and I. So they lure them. And because women can be gullible, and with what's going on out there, that there are more men than women. More women than men, sorry. So the women are desperate. They want to, and then the stories they hear, they fall for it.
I'm not sure in absolute terms there are more women than men, but I think there are more suitable women than men. So the kind of woman you are, there are certain kinds of men you wouldn't date. Mm-hmm. And there are many men that you wouldn't date. Mm-hmm. So the number that you date, there are more women who would date a smaller proportion of men. But having said that, the issue of the other woman is any woman who is dating a married man. And it's not about his being in a polygamous situation. She's not married to
just
him.
Married men?
Exactly.
What about the boyfriends?
Okay.
That's
So
not
when
the
we
other
say
woman. They're all together there.
No, but you know
when we
he's
say
somebody.
the other woman, we sort of even make her sound sophisticated. She's the side chick. What is the side chick? What I mean?
Yes.
I do not understand that why a girl would want to be a side chick, because I think most people look at a man and they see what he has, which is he has the house, the wife, the kids, and everyone sort of wants that. Nobody wants to be on the outside looking in, and then whatever crumbs that's left is what you get. So maybe the side chick is there. Maybe the only benefit for her will be she's there and it just puts her closer to her destination. But I don't see how, any well-meaning human being would want to be the side chick.
Sometimes that side chick is the main chick, man.
But shall I tell you something? I think that there's a lot to be said for being the other woman. Okay. Mm-hmm. No, I'll tell you why. She's not bothered about the children and school fees.
Exactly.
And he can't come home and tell her,
So she's just enjoying the benefits of being the person that is taken on trips abroad when he's going for meetings.
No, but there's some of these other women that they already have their kids and all that.
That's different. But you know, but the thing is, so this, but if a single other woman, even a married other woman, when they go abroad, the Gucci bags he may not buy for his wife, he will buy for her. The designer clothes he may tell his wife he's not buying, he will buy for her. Because there's something in a man who is dating that other woman who wants to prove to her, his ego needs to prove to her that I can do it.
I can take care of you.
Yes, I can take care of you. You just stick with me. Don't worry about my wife.
Are there circumstances that have sort of encouraged, and I'm not saying it's good or good. I'm just saying, are there circumstances that are maybe the wives, are there things that we've done as wives that have encouraged the man to go out in search of, or are there discussions, are there things that have led to this?
Maybe this is the point I should share my own personal experience. In technical terms, I was the other woman at some point in life. You're dating, you're young, and then there are guys who chase you. And then I remember a married guy, it didn't start with chase. We worked in the same environment, right? And I was 22 or 23. And I was working in entertainment, and all he would talk about is how his wife is wanting, she's too fat, she's wanting, telling stories, and he's telling you how good looking you are. I mean, of course you think that goes into your head. And you start feeling like, oh, I'm the one that can solve this man's problem. And then he's taking you out for dinner, for lunch. But you know what? I told myself, come on, you're dating a married man. Even if you're dating just to go and eat his dinner, as far as I was concerned, topping his money. Doesn't really matter. And there was no function of saying maybe I had to sleep with him or whatever. But the point is, it slowly creeps on you, and it could have gotten to that level. But I could call myself to God and say, what am I even doing with this guy? He's not even to marry me. Where is he leading me? So that's why I keep saying that when you become the other woman, I don't know. I'm like...
Well, I have a story. My very good friend, she was the other woman. We're serving at the time, so we're quite young at the time, doing our national youth service. And she was with this man, and she'll come back home to tell me how this man is suffering, his wife, she's so wicked. To the point she said, do you know even her children don't love her? You know? So yes, so here she is, the defender of the universe, here to rescue the man. But, and he, of course, promised her marriage and everything. Well, it's been nearly 10 years or more.
Are they still dating?
No, they're not dating. He's still with his wife.
Yes.
And her children very much love her.
Their mom.
And she had gone on to get married to someone else. I'm just saying, yes, they'll give you stories. But you should be smart enough to know.
But the truth is, for some people, it ends up well. Unfortunately, they end up marrying them. They do end up, it's happened a lot of times. That's not well. No, but guess what? You asked a question, you said, are there things that lead, circumstances that lead to? And I always say to women, when you get married, always remain relevant. Always remember what got him attracted to you from the very beginning. I mean, first from your looks, it would always fade one, but don't relax and just keep. See how hot you are now. I mean, how? Do you understand? No, trust me. Because I'm telling you, I believe in keeping men on their toes, your husband on his toes.
He should keep chasing you.
He should keep chasing you. You should never stop.
Yes, they will say you keep them on their toes too much, so they need to look for the one that doesn't keep them so much on their toes. There's always a reason.
I don't think so. Well, and also because of the fact that, a friend of mine shared something with me yesterday. Her Bobo sent it to her and said, her husband said, now wow. Solomon married 700 wives, had 700 wives in the Bible, and also had 300 concubines. And God still loved him. Meanwhile, in Africa, the man, we follow house girl, and the whole world will want to come down.
Yeah, but you said God still loves you. God will still love you. Does not mean I have to love you. Thank you.
Okay, someone asked her, is the other woman always a bad woman? What if she didn't know that she was the other woman?
That's what I said at the beginning. Sometimes, what if she didn't know she was the other woman?
Okay, like my story.
Men are good at hiding it.
Okay. So like my story would be, I'm married to a much older man. Of course, so immediately people see us. I'm judged as the other woman without hearing. They don't know the backstory.
Yeah.
Oh, she's much younger. She must be the wicked witch that came and destroyed everything. Yeah. So there are stories I know also of people who have been deceived into being the other woman. But of course, once you get enough information, but although sometimes it happens that maybe you've gone so far as to have kids with this person.
No,
and then, so what happens then?
Kids with somebody that don't know has another wife? Is that possible?
Some people have been able to do that.
But what men do, that's the truth. Like you said, a lot of women are deceived into. A man can hide. Haven't you heard the stories where the man dies and the funeral that
kids
had
just pop
4
out of
kids, 3
nowhere.
kids? Yes.
No, but Ifeoma, do you agree with all these stories? Doesn't the other woman that is having those children for the married man, that she's so ignorant, right? Do we have a right to judge her?
You see, for me, I don't even think, even if she were aware, I'm not sure this conversation is about judging. I think it's about looking at the situation. And the two sides, as far as I'm concerned, are guilty.
What
a lot of
the man and the woman.
Yes,
yes.
The wife and yes, because you see, yes, I believe that, like Ndidi said, women should look after themselves. Yeah. But I think that marriage is more than about just looking after yourself. I agree. There's a bonding that has taken place. Does that bond mean nothing to you? And then, okay, you now go to another woman. Supposing you didn't even lie. You said to her that you're married. It's that thing your wife has shaped you up to be that she finds appealing. So your wife has now prepared you for somebody else to enjoy the better part of you.
So what happens in this
That is what is painful. I think wives find the other woman painful because she's taking from them or in their husbands what they should have and enjoy. And then she enjoys it. You know?
She reminds me of Acrimony. Do you remember the movie Acrimony?
I was on their show to talk about Acrimony.
But you know, I would never forget, this actually happened. You know, I had this client that wanted, this stylist that came to me, she wanted to style her clients for a photo shoot.
She also runs a store, by the way.
Yes, and I said to her, I said, can I see the pictures of these people to her? The man is in his 80s. The photo shoot was for the other woman who was in her 40s.
You see?
And then I see a picture of this man, his first wife, who is also almost in her 80s, looking like she was 100 and something. In the picture with the
40-something
other woman. You know, it broke my heart.
So what you are particular?
It broke, because all I could see was this poor woman that has suffered, just like what you're saying, with this man. And he finds her also whatever now, and has gone for...
I have a friend that says that she will never leave her house for another woman. Right?
But okay, now, I have a problem with that. Because I say to women, do not condescend that low. I'm sorry. He's decided to take on another woman. Move on. And that is and I stand by it.
I think that's a good place for us to take a break. What? Let's take a break.
Okay. Why do we have to take a break?
So before we went on the break, Ayo, you said you were going to say something.
Yeah, what was I going to say? Look, the bottom line is, right now, it seems like we are all just demonizing the other woman. And quite sincerely, the reason I brought this topic is because the other woman is a woman, right? It's not a function of who's right and who's wrong. And like somebody did point out to me sometime, that sometimes the other woman doesn't really want your husband. The other woman just wants to be able to pleasure herself sometimes and share in the money or whatever. But she's not taking... So we're looking at her as somebody who's coming to take your husband.
But we're not, though. We're not looking at... You see, what is taking a husband?
Exactly.
I don't think we are.
Or sharing your husband.
What is taking a husband? The way I look at it is this. If I'm the other woman, then there's something his wife isn't giving him that I may be able to give him.
Can't he just be greedy?
No, it may not be a matter of greed. It may, you can't have everything you want in one person.
Yes.
Okay,
so which means that different people can provide different things. Yeah. In the same way, can I have another man?
Exactly.
Can I have another man?
I remember saying that we've been socialized to believe that when you get married, as women in Nigeria, for instance, you sort of cut off your other relationships with... Okay, so if you're talking to a guy, it just seems
with
wrong.
The opposite sex.
So you just, cut off all those relations and stick to women or stick to married women. Even if you're friends with single girls, they're like, oh, they'll spoil you and everything. But your husband is allowed to have friends that he understands. I mean, people he grew up with, understandably so. So are we the ones that are shooting ourselves in the foot by allowing
us women?
Yes, us women. Are we the ones shooting?
Because
it can be that we can maintain... Because we need different types of relationships to be whole.
Yeah. But going back to trying to be the other woman or thinking like I'll being in her shoes. Well, there are a few reasons why people do become side chicks, I guess, apart from wanting to get in a marriage with your husband. I'm a young girl, 18, 21. I want to travel the world. I can't afford it. And I want designer clothes and bags, maybe, you know.
And then when she's old,
that's exactly.
They call it something else now, though. I don't know what it is. It's not sugar daddy.
So that's the only way I can understand why someone, I mean, without demonizing her, I guess.
No, but there's a funky way there's a name for it, I just don't remember.
No, ma'am, you see, my bit with that is, maybe because when it comes to relationships, okay, I believe even in marriage, I believe you should get married for the right reasons, which for me, first and foremost, is love. Now, when you start to look at the financial gains, then you're ready to take any crap, even as the main wife. Now, you find out that your husband has a side chick and you want to remain in it, then be ready to take the crap he's giving you. But if you decide that I own myself, this is me, this is what I stand for, if you have a side chick,
but he may not be giving you crap, though, and he may actually be a better husband because he has somebody else.
Care of you.
That is the interesting thing. No.
Okay, so can I do the same?
That's the only question. You see,
that's the main question.
A man is actually a better husband
when
because
he has
there's somebody else with whom he exhales.
Can I tell you? Can I share? I know
it doesn't make it, which is the reason why it's not about it's right, it's wrong in many ways. It's about
what's accepted in a particular area.
Not even What is it that we see?
But is it a two-way thing?
It's not really.
Is it a two-way thing?
That they can't really, you know, when you're with your wife, you're thinking of bills, school fees, and all of that. When you meet somebody else, even as women, when you meet a guy outside and you have an interesting conversation that had no hold back, it was just you feel good. So it usually starts off as that. You know, you meet somebody and then the person is just so civil and everything is just perfect.
You see something else in her.
Maybe we women are able to cut off at a point, and then maybe men just don't know when to draw the line, and then it grows from one thing to another. So maybe that's another thing. So we can't really be that person that they don't, because I mean, the bills are the bills. The children are there. It's not going to.
But then there's something else. I think there are people who are allowed to marry more than one wife.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
So if you're like mostly the North, if you're Muslim, you know your husband is likely to have
a second,
a third or fourth wife. So usually you're growing up, you're socialized to think that can happen. Okay. So you can accept it. And yet, you know, people still do not, even though they know that could happen,
it's still painful.
It's still painful. See, the word for like a second wife or a third wife or a new wife in Hausa is kishia. And that comes from the word kishi. Kishi is jealousy. Yeah. So to be described as second or third as the kishi, like maybe the jealouser or the one that brings on jealousy. So, you know, even though it is acceptable, but they also recognize that it's tough for you to call it.
I think if we had a society where, like the Muslims do, where it's accepted, then it would end a lot of, you know,
no, but are you not hearing what
she's saying? Setting. It's
because I was just
in a cultural setting.
Do you know that even the both of you, in some parts of the East, women marry for their husbands? Because you get a particular age in the past.
But yes, not from the East in any event.
Okay, that's I'm sorry. I just say, Southeast. We are South. It's like saying I'm from the East. But the truth is, I have heard of where women marry. For example, even if you cannot have a child, for example, you can marry for your husband. Even if you are rich women across the Niger who marry for their husbands.
I don't think it's only even across the Niger. I think in many cultures.
Oh, really?
Yes, in many cultures, if another woman has a child, then you have a child if you don't have children.
No, that's different.
No, it's the same thing. If you get a woman her children become yours, if you even read history and the cultures, it's a very common thing. Even in cultures, people will say to women, this is the other part of it. So there are other men too, because women whose husbands can't give them children, their older relatives will tell them, go and have a child with a man outside. But your husband knows he can't have children. He knows that child can't be his, but he's okay with it.
But you have to be discreet. He can't be discreet about it.
Exactly.
Well, it's
because of our society.
It's what tradition is.
That actually brings me into saying that a lot of people have actually said these days that women aren't keeping quiet anymore. And that a lot of the side chicks now are also married women.
I was just going to say that. I agree. That is so true. Even the men are going for the married women because they think the side... Thank you. Because they know... exactly. And they know that the side chicks that are married are not looking to, take you away like that.
That means there are women who are main chick here, And side chicks there.
But and guess what? I hear that their relationships with their main husbands, it's more fun for them. Yeah, it helps because I think the idea of variety is by some
just shaking her head.
But it's happening. It is crazy. It is happening.
This conversation that we're having, it simply means that people are doing exactly what they please. So we can say what we like. We say it's like, who is the side chick if your husband spends all the time there? The woman you call the side chick is the main person. So you don't. So the idea of using that word, it simply means that the relationships, whether you're married or not, a man decides with which woman he feels most whole.
So should the woman be able to decide that?
So there's no such thing. You might be the married side chick.
But
should the woman be your husband?
When we're looking at side chick as, you know, the whole sex thing being involved.
It has to be.
No, sometimes. You see, which is why it can be a bit difficult. You as a married woman, you might start to lose that communication thing with your husband. And you find another man that you can actually open up to. You're enjoying that. That's it. There's something brewing there.
You know, talking about demonizing the side chick. But you've heard of cases where, okay, a woman leaves her home because of a side chick. She's divorced, but ends up being a side chick to somebody's husband. So it's acceptable. I mean, it's unacceptable when it happens to her. But then when she's available, but she's not avenging on her husband.
No, but I don't understand this. So look at Miriam talking. Miriam, you're second wife in terms of you're a second marriage.
I'm first wife.
Only wife. But everybody will still be looking at you as if you are the cause of the breakup of the marriage.
No, but hers was different. The man had been
but they still... Yes, it's true, but I mean, people just assume.
So we'll have
to sit with you and tell you, I met him 4 years after.
Does that really bother you? Because you know the truth. I think it's for those that know that, okay, I've
So I want to ask this question. Would it make it less offensive to a wife if she was allowed to do hers as well and have her own side boy or side
definitely.
man?
But why are we taking this to only marriage? There are people who are dating and talking about side chick and main chick.
I'm just acceptable when you're dating, really. Because for me, you're single if you're not married. So if you're single, you're single. I mean, you have to be married.
They shouldn't lay claim.
During courtship, it leads to something.
No, but it shouldn't lay claims.
I don't think you can lay claim because if you're dating someone and they happen to meet someone else after you and prefer the person, it may be sad for you. But they're not obligated to
stay with but I remember when I was dating my husband and he started trying to toast these babes and I found out. I walked away. I'm like, to hell with you.
You see what I mean? He came back and chose you.
Then he begged. So that is it. Yes, but if I just sat there and said, I will take it like that. In marriage, he will try himself. So you need to be able to stand your ground. I don't think the moment you're dating, it's already, because if you're dating me and I do the same and you find out that I have one or two, and for women, it's even safer when you're dating to have one or two. Because you don't know what the man will say. It's true. I agree. We keep you for 10 years. And waka, yes. So you're better off, because you never know. But
what are your final thoughts on this?
How will you summarize it?
Well, I mean, don't be a side chick, I guess. I don't know.
What if it happens to you?
Try not to be the source of another person's pain. Don't let a woman kneel down because of you.
No, but
if you are aware, I mean, if there's anything you can do about it, I'm not judging you or anything, but I mean, people find themselves in situations. If you are aware and there's anything you can do to lessen the pain of somebody else, by all means.
I think it's really do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And if you feel that you're comfortable with it, it means that perhaps if somebody else did it to you, you'd be comfortable as well. Because at the end of the day, a lot of these things we talk about are societal constructs. We decide. So society has decided that from a woman's perspective, the other woman shouldn't be. But from a man's perspective, it should be. It can't be one-sided. It means that if we allow it for men, then there will always be other women.
I think for me, just like Ifeoma said, do unto others what you want done to you. So if you know, for the men first, mine is not even from the side, because it takes two to tango.
Yeah,
so the men should learn to be content. Do you understand? And if there's something that you don't find in your woman, okay, that is true, but don't, because that's actually where it stems from. They look outside, they start to, and from them, it's like joke, it's as in like, let me just try. One night thing. And the side chick wants to enter. You're thinking innocent, yes, and bang. So let's not even, don't even create room for that in the first place. And you, the women, do not settle for less. Why be a side chick when you can meet the main one? So wait for the single somebody.
Well, I'd say you be the side chick, be the main chick. Exactly. Don't give anybody chance. Color be the thing. Even though really, like my husband always says, no polygamy. But it depends on the negotiations that you have. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. If you can do side chick, then I can be side guy. I can have my own side guy if I can take care of it. But that's what, the conversations are done here. They're done here. But they can continue online at TW Conversations and we'll continue talking here. But at the end of the day, whether you're a side chick, whatever, just know that the other woman is a woman. Like you. Don't deal with that. If the man is the problem, deal with him.
Yes.
I beg, Kekwano.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
It's also equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect them. If you no talk, then go beat you. Now 2,500 they pay.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshuke. Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Event is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely. No question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, I know.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity. No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event
on Plus TV.
Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
So what are the top decisions that the United States considers necessary that Nigeria must take? I like to think of my interactions as conversations, not interviews. And that's why I say asking questions is both an art and a science. Everyone says in Islam you are allowed to have 4 wives. Is it mandatory? The right question enables answers that educate, inform, clarify, and help you, the viewer, to better understand the issue before making up your mind.
Our goal is to reduce from 10 to 2 days the time it takes to register businesses in Nigeria.
Join me every week on this station, Plus TV Africa, and gain exclusive access to my conversations. I'm Angela Ajetumobi.
Hello and welcome to Space and Style, a property show designed to connect various stakeholders across the property value chain. We can also provide realistic solutions and deepen your knowledge about the interesting world of real estate. We shall showcase architectural design, interior design trends, lifestyle and real-time property news updates, and the right way to navigate through property development and investment. Join me every week on this channel as I take you through an exciting journey in the world of real estate.
Space and Style,
6:30 p.m. on Saturdays and 5:30 p.m. on Wednesdays.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408 or send an email to marketing@plustvafrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
In raising our kids, parents should stop playing God. The internet is actually using the people.
But when you are looking for money to help other people, then it becomes easy.
Don't rush into marriage. I always say this. You rush in, you rush out.
Family is the bedrock of every society and the essence of life.
On Today with John and Helen, we dig deep into family values in every sense of the word.
Join us every Saturday at 9:15 a.m. on Plus TV Africa, DSTV channel 408.
With you, we play a part in strengthening the values passed from generation to generation.
On Plus TV News now, President Muhammadu Buhari reiterates commitment to fair, peaceful elections. Libya rival leader Bashaga says he has no plans to rule from Tripoli. World Health Organization Assembly votes to adopt a Western-led resolution condemning Russia's actions in Ukraine. Good evening, I am Adebanke Odunui and this is the News Now. President Muhammadu Buhari will leave on Thursday to Abuja to participate in the African Union Extraordinary Session of the Assembly of Heads of State and Government in Malabo, Equatorial Guinea. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, says that this year's summit will be focusing on security. The three-day summit, which will hold on May 26th to 28th, will also focus on humanitarian challenges in Africa, with related issues on migration, refugees, returnees, and internally displaced persons. At the summit, the African leaders will look at terrorism and unconstitutional change of government, with attendant spiraling effects on human rights and economies. And President Muhammadu Buhari says he is committed to ensuring candidates with integrity prevail in next year's general elections. He also mentions that he is determined to ensure peaceful and fair elections. The president was speaking when he received an All Progressives Congress aspirant vying for the Kano Central Senatorial District seat, Bashir Lado. Lado's meeting with the president comes a day before the senatorial primary elections of the APC. Lado is the immediate past Director General of the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking of Persons. The Vice President and the presidential aspirant for the 2023 general elections, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, was in Benue State to solicit support for his presidential ambition under the banner of the All Progressives Congress.
for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Booking November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Businesses in Africa can be very challenging. In Nigeria, it is particularly intimidating, and successful builders have learned how to navigate a hostile environment to unlock opportunities. But one major challenge businesses face is how to filter through the noise and identify where their ideal customers exist. Get insight and practical steps from industry players and captains of industries. Hear success stories to help you make informed decisions as you scale your business in Nigeria. Watch Business Insights at this time on Plus TV Africa.
Professor Yomi Osinbajo, in an interactive session with delegates and stakeholders of the APC in Benue, took photographs and handshake with over 2,000 delegates where he appeared for their support.
We've had a very robust engagement with the delegates today, and we talked about a wide range of issues: the economy, security, healthcare, education, and technology. It's been very engaging, and I think that all of us are very satisfied with the engagement and with the promises, not just for now, but for the future.
Also speaking, a former member of the Benue State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Nick Eworo, said Osinbajo is the right man and the best candidate across all party lines to lead Nigeria, as he has experience working with the president for the past years.
I've always at every point in time liked the man because of his personality and what he stands for: the integrity, the personality, the intelligence, the capacity, the organization. He came and found out from us. He said, I want 7 questions before I will speak to you. Very smart, very intelligent, highly innovative. He wanted to know what was in our minds so he can stand on that trajectory. By the time he finished, he saw the standing ovation.
In her remarks, the coordinator of grassroots mobilization for Osinbajo 2023, Fatima Iberiogo, disclosed that if Osinbajo is given the opportunity to lead the country, women, youth, and the economy of the country will improve.
I see an example of him going to the market, seeing the prices of things and what is going on in Nigeria. And as the Benue food basket of the nation, you can see how orange are wasting now. Mangoes are wasting. The women takes to the market, comes back, they got nothing. And as a president, I'm 100% that he's going to have a factory whereby the women can be able to, whatever they farm, they produce, will be able to make a juicy out of it.
The state APC chairman, Austin Agada, on behalf of the party, assured the vice president of the delegates' support to win the party's presidential ticket in the presidential primary election that will hold soon.
Thank you for staying with us. The national leader of the All Progressives Congress, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, has said that he is in the presidential race to unite and develop the country. Tinubu stated this in Akure, the Ondo state capital, when he visited to canvass votes for the state's delegates. He said Nigeria is endowed with both human and natural resources, which he intends to put into play if given the opportunity to serve.
Our diversity
for prosperity rather than division. There's merit in our collaboration to recognize the need of our country much faster. I put our country as a priority. We can cry from morning to night for changes. If we don't work at it, it will be constant poverty.
Let us all reflect to ourselves. Is rich is not something you can get easily. Is rich as one of us, maybe as one of the founding fathers of our party.
Is very fit physically, fit mentally, and prepared to re-engineer the economy of Nigeria and move Nigeria forward.
If we are going by popularity, if we are going by winnability, if we are going by fame, honestly, APC will be happy. APC will have a good story to tell with Asiwaju leading us in the next dispensation.
In Ogun State, Governor Dapo Abiodun also clinched the governorship ticket of the APC by 1,168 votes to defeat 5 other aspirants. Meanwhile, 2 of the aspirants, Adekunle Akinlade and B. Otegbeye, had rejected the chairmanship of the election committee, Wale Ohu, and had passed a vote of no confidence on him. The aspirants in a jointly signed press statement also expressed reservations on delegates list used for the exercise. And the All Progressives Congress APC in Oyo State has suspended its governorship primary, citing logistics as a challenge. The primary election was to hold at 11 a.m. today. Earlier, a governorship aspirant, Ni Akintola SAN, stepped aside, faulting abnormalities in the composition of party delegates. We'll bring you details later. And also in River State, Toye Cole won the governorship primary to fly APC's flag in next year's governorship election. Cole polled a total of 986 votes against 5 other aspirants who contested.
In line with the guidelines and as the returning officer of this exercise, I hereby certify that Architect Toye Cole, having scored the highest number of votes cast in this exercise, is hereby declared winner.
I would like to thank the leadership of APC River State. This journey has been a long journey, but I would like to thank specifically Right Honorable Kimberly Rosemary Amici for believing in this process and seeing that you have prepared where we are today is also to be glory of God. The journey is long, but it's just beginning. I want to assure the entire River State that what you are seeing here is a change for the better. We are bringing dignity back to this state. APC is on a mission in River State to bring hope to the hopeless.
Senator Magnus Abe has dumped the All Progressives Congress APC and also withdrawn from the governorship race. Abe announced his withdrawal from the contest through the South-South coordinator of Bola Ahmed Tinubu Support Vanguard, Sir Tony Okorocha. Okorocha, however, said despite dumping the APC, Abe's Rivers governorship ambition is still in the works. And political thugs invaded the APC stakeholders meeting in Jalingo, Taraba State, causing a confusion. The meeting, which was attended by 6 governorship aspirants, was halted by the invasion. The Commissioner of Police, who confirmed the incident, said the police restored sanity immediately it received an emergency call from the party's state chairman. And former lawmaker Issa.
With dangerous weapons, we are on top of the situation. No one can say that he was actually injured or in any way harassed by all these talks. So there is peace in Jalingo. As the chairman of APC called me that the environment was toxic, that it was quite potential of violence, I proceeded to the scene, calmed them down, and normalcy was restored there at Shield Hotel, Jalingo.
Well, first thing first, we arrived yesterday evening and we had a series of meetings, ranging from security agencies, the critical stakeholders, the aspirants themselves. We had a lot of series of meetings, which continues up to this morning. But so far, we had a lot of little issue as politicians. We are trying to sort it out, and we are hoping that sooner or later the election will commence. And like we told the aspirants, some of them are here with us here, the election will be conducted direct primaries, because as you know, we have three modes of the election: direct, indirect, or by consensus.
Apologies for that. Former lawmaker Issa Ashiru has emerged the winner of the governorship primary in Kaduna State, polling 412 votes to defeat other contenders. It was a huge contest between 6 aspirants. 760 accredited delegates were selected from 23 local government councils in the state.
Results are as follows. Out of total accredited people of 760, we arrive at this result. Invalid, 30 votes. Alhaji Mukhtar Ramalan Yero, 28 votes. Senators Shehu Sani, 2 votes. Haruna Said, 11 votes. Mala Sani Sidi, 260 votes. Barrister Sani Abbas, 15 votes. Honorable Issa Ashiru, 440 votes. I, Raymond Dabo, have declared Alhaji Honorable Issa Ashiru as the winner of these primaries.
Our collective, genuine desire for the rescue of our state from the misrule of the APC, which has caused untold hardship to the people of the state, as evident in the terrible insecurity, joblessness, and the resultant extreme poverty, should continuously motivate all of us to work for the success of our party during the next general election.
The process, as you can see, was transparent, free, and fair. You know, it was well organized, and that's why you see it was rancor-free, and everybody accepted the outcome of the election. This is a referendum made by the delegates of the PDP and made by the PDP as a political party, whereby today Right Honorable Issa Ashiru have been chosen as the flag bearer of the party in the forthcoming 2023 general election.
In Kano State, 2 factions of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, held parallel governorship primaries at different times and locations. The 2 factions are Aminu Wali and Shehu Shagagi groups. Mohammed Sani Abacha emerged the winner of the Shehu Shagagi faction with 736 votes, defeating Sadiq Wali, who had 455 votes.
First and foremost, I give thanks to God Almighty for keeping us alive and well to witness this historic day. It has been a very interesting day. And I thank also all my competitors who have competed with me today. They have done well also. And it is a congratulation, not for me, but for all of us, and most importantly, for our great party.
In politics, it's either you win or you lose. We give in our best. At the end of the day, the electorates that the delegate decided otherwise. But glory be to God that saw us through from the beginning of the race till the end of the race. We haven't been found wanting, and we stayed our course, and we believe one day it will pay off. Well, we are into politics. It's going to be an issue for life, and we'll continue to promote good governance.
Former President Goodluck Jonathan has condemned the ongoing primaries for the 2023 elections. There have been reports of how aspirants have been inducing delegates to vote for them. Speaking at a book launch titled Political Party Governance in Abuja, Jonathan said it was disgraceful to induce delegates to get their votes and then request for refunds after failing to secure tickets. The former president urged the National Assembly to make laws to criminalize inducement of delegates and electorate. He also asked the legislature to expunge from the Electoral Act the sections that states and political parties should select candidates for the elections. The presidential ambition of the former Kano State Governor, Senator Rabiu Kwakwanso, has received boost as one of the party's aspirants, Olufemi Ajadi, stepped down his ambition. At a press conference, Olufemi said the decision was premeditated on the party's interest and love of country.
The good citizens of my country, and at the same time I've made my research on within our party to confirm who is the great leader among us, who is also aspiring for this office. Wow, we are winning. It's all win, 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 win. We don't have a choice at all level. We are taking over. The Nigerian youth, if you see the New Nigerian People's Party, is the only political party who has given chance to all Nigerian youth to participate in this forthcoming election. And if you can see that there is no other doubt, we don't need to doubt it. We are taking over come 2023.
As a matter of fact, we need to let our people know that presently Ogun State is not in the hands of the people that know how to govern this country. So Ogun State will be in the good or better manager when NPP comes on board.
Nigeria's electoral body, the INEC, has listed insecurity, fake news and money politics as the three critical challenges ahead of the 2023 general elections. The chairman of INEC, Mahmoud Yakubu, who was speaking at a one-day colloquium on emerging issues that will shape the 2023 general election, said the influence of money on politics is becoming a risk and may soon become a plutocracy for the rich rather than a democracy for the people. He said INEC is in collaboration with the ICPC and the EFCC. The INEC chairman expressed concern about the security situation in the country as the elections draw near. Mahmoud maintained that the antidote to fake news is to be more real and transparent. And the Supreme Court has reserved judgment in a suit filed by President Muhammadu Buhari and the Attorney General of the Federation seeking an interpretation of Section 84, subsection 12 of the Electoral Act of 2022. The 7-man panel led by Justice Mohammed Datiju says the date will be communicated to the parties involved in the suit after taking arguments from the parties and adopting their processes. At the proceedings on Thursday, the All Progressive Grand Alliance, APGA, and the Nigerian Bar Association, NBA, brought an application seeking to be joined as interested parties. The Federal High Court, Abuja, has stopped the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, from recognizing or accepting ad hoc delegates produced by Governor Godwin Obaseki's faction of the PDP in Edo State. Justice Nyang Eko gave the order while delivering judgment in a suit instituted by 581 delegates elected on April 30th. The judge recognized that the ad hoc delegates produced by Mr. Dan Orbi's faction as authentic. Justice Eko held that PDP and other defendants in the suit were bound by Section 84, subsection 5 of the Electoral Act of 2022, as well as Section 15 of the PDP Constitution relating to delegates' elections. The judge gave an order of injunction against the first to fourth defendants, restraining them from tampering with the plaintiff's list having been duly elected in the Congress of the party held on April 30th. Senior advocate of Nigeria and rights activist Mr. Femi Falana has called on President Muhammadu Buhari to sack the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele. Addressing the Southwest Youth and Women Conference in Ado-Ekiti, Falana said Emefiele's continued stay in office as CBN governor could erode and compromise the credibility of the 2023 general elections. Emefiele had indicated interest to contest as president in 2023 on the platform of the ruling All Progressives Congress, but rescinded the decision. Falana said that for free, fair, and credible 2023 general elections, INEC should not keep sensitive election materials at the CBN because Emefiele is a card-carrying member of the APC. Meanwhile, Ekiti State is to hold its governorship elections on June 18, while that of Osun is billed for July 16th. Anaba Kyari, the suspended DCP, has approached a federal high court to ask for another bail plea. Kyari and 3 of his co-defendants through their counsel urged Justice Emeka Nwite to admit them to a bail because their lives in the Kuje Correctional Center, where they have been remanded, were unsafe. At a resumed hearing, Oyechi Ikpeazu SAN, counsel to Kyari and suspended ACP Sunday Ubia, informed that an application seeking for bail for the 1st, 2nd, 4th, and 5th defendant had been filed and served on the National Drug Law and Enforcement Agency and DLEA. And the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, in collaboration with relevant stakeholders and sectors, is creating awareness among hunting communities and the general public of the outbreak of the virus monkeypox on prevention of disease. The Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Mohamed Abubakar, said if the outbreak of the disease is left unchecked, it would affect farmers and significantly lead to low agricultural production. He urges the general public to avoid contact with animals that could harbor the virus, including animals that are sick or found dead where monkeypox occurs.
The general public is hereby advised to avoid contact with animals that could harbor the virus, including animals that are sick or found dead where monkeypox occurs. Avoid contact with any material such as bedding that has been in contact with a sick animal. Practice good hand hygiene, such as the washing of hands and the use of alcohol-based sanitizers after contact with infected animals or humans. The Ministry would like to assure the general public and the international community of our resolve to continue to collaborate with relevant sectors and stakeholders to promptly contain the disease in the event of an outbreak in the country.
Nigeria ranks top 5 among countries with the fastest rate of deforestation in the world, losing about 350,000 hectares of forest every year, hence the need to plant more trees. Director General of the Nigerian Conservation Foundation, Mutari Aminu Kano, said this at the flag-off of a massive tree planting project across 3 geopolitical zones of the country. Aminu Kano said though the government has made pledges to the international community, it is up to non-governmental organizations and responsible and forward-looking individuals to achieve the goal of reforestation. The NCFDG hints that they hope to take the project to all states of the Federation with a special focus on Delta states where there are plans to create a mini conservation education center.
We already have our 1.5 hectare piece of land donated to us by the president of our foundation, Chief Philip Asiodu, and we are just preparing it for planting when the partnership came with ATC. So ATC is going to support the revegetation of that 1.5 hectares and the establishment of a conservation education center where school children around Asaba will be able to use it as their field laboratory, and they will come and see nature in practice and enjoy the land just like people come to Lekki Conservation Center to do.
The exercise brought together environmental enthusiasts and organizations who were educating on the benefits of reforestation and the need to protect the environment by planting more trees. Aminu Kano also recounted the benefits associated with planting trees to include food and shelter, however listed some of the challenges associated with looking after the forests.
There are many challenges with looking after our forests and making sure that our trees remain standing. The major one is expansion of agriculture. Agriculture itself, there is nothing wrong with it, but it's the way we do it. We slash and burn. So every couple of years, a farmer gets his soils where he's tilling are tired, and then he or she goes to a new place, cuts down all the trees and starts again. Then with actual restoration and planting of the trees, there are also quite a few challenges. You need to protect the area where you plant the trees, otherwise animals, goats, cattle and so on can go and eat up the seedlings you've planted.
As Nigeria prepares for another round of elections in 2023, citizens have continued to express their views on what their expectations are. That's on Street Views. Let's take a listen.
Well, basically, at the moment, the situation in town, the situation of the country determines the wave of how election goes. The government of the day are so much messed up, and even the blind and the deaf in the society can tell. So for 2023, I believe that it's going to be about the corporate need of the society beyond individualisms. Because if we don't get it right this time as a corporate society, we cannot get it out again. So basically, the performance of the present government will determine the result of this 2023 election.
Hopefully, I'm expecting the power to change from the ruling party to the other party, which is PDP, because I think every part of everywhere corner of the country, they are tired of the ruling party, which is the APC, because instead of things to like being stabilized in a way, it's getting too hard for people to, so people can't bear it anymore. That's my views on it.
Yes, we've been hearing that too, but people are tired of suffering. So I believe people will come out to vote for their choice. That will really make peace, because imposing people on party members have always brought menace to our society. When people vote for their right choice and the right choice wins, it brings peace to the world. So I believe at this election, people will vote for their right choice.
Still ahead, 11 newborn babies die in a fire at regional hospital in Senegal. Details when we return.
Life can be fun and rewarding, but it also comes with some risk. As in business, you win some, you lose some. And that's why you need to be wise in the choices you make. It's like placing a bet. Again, you need to be wise. Wise in choosing an innovative platform with the highest market options and highest odds ever. That's why Winners Golden Bet, the leader in online, in-shop, virtual, and live sports betting, gives you enhanced platforms that offer you the best chances of winning. For betting on live soccer matches, live dog races, and virtual games. Winners Golden Bet is your best bet. Instant payment on winnings guaranteed. Play online or in any of our numerous shops nearest to you.
Hey guys, be wise. Play on Winners Golden Bet.
Winners Golden Bet, the wise choice.
Thank you for joining us. This is News Now and other parts of Africa. Senegal's President Macky Sall has confirmed, saying that 11 newborn babies died in a fire at the neonatal section of a regional hospital in the town of Tiva Oni, east of capital Dakar. Details in this report.
Outside a regional hospital in Senegal, the anxious wait for news. 11 newborn babies have died in a fire in the neonatal department, President Macky Sall has said. Ndeye Absegay is grandmother to a baby being cared for at the Mam Abdou Aziz Sy Dabakh Hospital in Tivaouane.
My granddaughter is here. She's been here for 2 weeks. I came here to see if she was in the accident.
A few minutes later, Gay's daughter, the baby's mother, emerges from the hospital. Her child was among the dead. Health Minister Abdoulaye Diouf Sarr told Senegalese television that preliminary investigations suggested the blaze had been caused by a short circuit. Local resident Ousmane Kane said the people of the town shared the pain of mothers who had lost their babies, and that the whole of Senegal was in mourning. Senegal has witnessed several health sector incidents that have ignited anger. One example was last year, when 4 newborn babies died in another fire at a hospital in a northern town. Public health experts have repeatedly warned that many underfunded and understaffed African hospitals have been stretched beyond their capacities by the COVID-19 pandemic, leaving them unable to maintain acceptable safety standards. A national outcry may yet come, but for now the residents of Tivaouane and the families of the deceased are left trying to come to terms with this horrifying tragedy.
4 children from the same family were killed when a fire engulfed their house in central Uganda district of Wakiso. According to a police statement, children aged 8 and below caught fire when their mother, Annette Nagaga, who deals in roasted maize and yellow bananas, went to fetch water 500 meters away. The 4 children were crying for help inside the house, but the door was closed. Efforts to get the door opened on time proved abortive. However, police suspect a burning candle in the house could have fallen on a motorcycle and ignited the fire. And Libya's rival Prime Minister Fathi Bashagha has made new plans not to rule from Tripoli after his attempted move there last week sparked clashes and fears of a return to widespread civil strife. Bashagha said his government would work from his headquarters in Sirte, a city on the Mediterranean coast about halfway between the country's east and west. Rival administrations from each end of Libya claim to be its legitimate rulers until elections are held. Oil-rich Libya has been racked by conflict since the NATO-backed uprising toppled and killed longtime dictator Muammar Gaddafi in 2011. And 2 people have been confirmed dead in Houndé, western Burkina Faso, following clashes between police and angry gold miners. According to government spokesperson, the clash was a result of 12 of their comrades taking part in the sacking of a major gold mine last week. He added that one of the deaths resulted from a stampede while the other through gunfire. Somalia's National Drought Relief Committee has disclosed that 6.9 million people in the Horn of African country are facing severe water shortages and food insecurity as the worst droughts in decades have escalated in the region. The drought has affected 90% of the country's landmass and 66 districts across the country, according to Abdi Rahman Wassam, the newly appointed Special Envoy for Humanitarian Affairs. The UN and international humanitarian agencies estimated the number of people in humanitarian need in Somalia to reach 7.7 million, with 5.5 million among vulnerable families. And human rights defenders in Tanzania says it has heaved a sigh of relief under the first female president, Samia Suluhu Hassan, by her moves like lifting the ban on 30 media outlets and ensuring review expressive laws. Hassan, who took over last year in March after the death of President John Magufuli is said to have rekindled hope in the country. In an exclusive interview with the national coordinator of Tanzania's Human Rights Defenders Coalition, once more said the country now needs wider legal reforms to ensure current developments related to protecting civil rights are not reversed and remain sustainable. And outside Africa, a World Health Organization assembly has voted to adopt a Western-led resolution condemning Russia's actions in Ukraine. The WHO annual assemblies make decisions by consensus. A parallel proposal submitted by Russia, which mimics the language of the original one, has yet to be voted on by the member states.
This is not just shamefully dishonest. It is also a cynical attempt to dupe this forum. By copying and pasting language from Ukraine's text and from text agreed in other contexts, Russia has cobbled together a resolution which they believe you will find it hard to vote against. We urge you not to fall for this subterfuge. We, the World Health Assembly, must be crystal clear about where responsibility for this health crisis lies. It lies with the Russian Federation.
One thing they haven't taken is responsibility for the health emergency they alone are causing. This isn't about politicization. This is about the health of millions and the need to hold Russia clearly accountable. This is the time and the place for this action, time to vote yes on Ukraine's resolution. Conversely, if you vote in support of Russia's resolution, you are standing with a country trying quite literally to destroy what this body stands for. If we cannot uphold the principle that one member state should not, must not destroy the healthcare system of another in an unprovoked and unjustified war, what do we stand for? Thank you.
I understand the concerns of those here who fear the politicization of this assembly, but war is a health issue. Health for peace, peace for health. This body must not be afraid to address health crises, including the causes, and in this case, the aggressor.
The United States does not seek to cut China from the global economy, but wants Beijing to adhere to international rules, so says the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken. He mentions that Washington will not block China from growing its economy or try to change Beijing's political system, but it will defend international law and institutions that maintain peace and security.
We stand ready to increase our direct communication with Beijing across a full range of issues. And we hope that that can happen. But we cannot rely on Beijing to change its trajectory. So we will shape the strategic environment around Beijing to advance our vision for an open, inclusive international system. Beijing may not be willing to change its behavior, but if it takes concrete action to address the concerns that we and many other countries have voiced, we will respond positively. On Taiwan, our approach has been consistent across decades and administrations. As the President has said, our policy has not changed. The United States remains committed to our one China policy. And Beijing has engaged in increasingly provocative rhetoric and activity, like flying PLA aircraft near Taiwan on an almost daily basis. These words and actions are deeply destabilizing. They risk miscalculation and threaten the peace and stability of the Taiwan Strait.
Belarusian leader Alexander Lukashenko has ordered the creation of a new military command for the south of the country bordering Ukraine. Lukashenko made the comments at a meeting with his defense minister, Viktor Kranin, and other military officials. Belarus is planning to deploy special operation troops in 3 areas near its southern border with Ukraine, as Lukashenko talked up the role of Russian-made missiles in boosting the country's defenses. And supporters of Pakistan's ousted Prime Minister Imran Khan besieged outside the parliament in the protest. They clashed with the police and said that they would return unless an election was called within 6 days. We have a report.
Pakistani protesters in Islamabad dispersed on Thursday, heading home at the behest of the country's ousted Prime Minister, Imran Khan. He disbanded a protest march by supporters after clashes with police outside Parliament the previous evening. However, Khan warned that they would return unless an election was called.
I am giving you 6 days. You announce elections in 6 days. You announce it in the month of June. Dissolve assemblies. If you don't do this after 6 days, I will come to Islamabad again with the entire nation.
Khan has said that the confidence vote that toppled him last month was the result of a US conspiracy. He is demanding a fresh election to show he has national support. Khan had reportedly fallen out with the country's military before being removed by a united opposition, which accused him of mismanaging the government, economy, and foreign relations. Washington and the Pakistan military deny playing any part in Khan's downfall. Khan had rallied thousands of supporters to Islamabad, with plans to occupy parts of the capital until new Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif gave in to his demands for new polls. Police fired tear gas and baton charged the vanguard of the march. Authorities detained hundreds of protesters who had torched trees, vehicles, shops, and a bus station as they advanced. At least 18 police and paramilitary troops were wounded, according to the country's information minister, after dozens of protesters breached the last lines of defence outside Parliament. The clashes also spread to multiple cities in Punjab province and the south port city of Karachi.
Up next, African Development Bank AFDB projects Nigeria's economy to grow by an average of 3.2% till 2023. And that's in business news after this short break.
Welcome to Business News. The African Economic Outlook 2022 released by the African Development Bank has projected the average growth rate of Nigeria's economy this year through to 2023 at 3.2%. The report, which was released at the ongoing annual general meeting of the bank in Accra, Ghana, focuses on the growth prospects of the continent in the context of the COVID-19 pandemic, climate change adaptation, energy transition, and other structural challenges. The report, unveiled by the president of the bank, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, his team and board of governors, examines the economic outlook at regional level and country-by-country basis. AFDB's projection is slightly higher than the 3.11% growth rate of Q1 as released by the National Bureau of Statistics. The Nigerian economic system is peculiar as it does not usually follow the laid-down established principles and policies, and as such, entrepreneurs need to move from the plug-and-play approach in problem-solving. This was the position of the author of Musing by the Muse, Adebola Akindele, at the public presentation which held in Lagos.
In a world of rapidly moving economic, social, and governance parts, and the rising uncertainty and governance complexity, finding a synthesis of ideas to help individuals and institutions navigate is needed. In an interview, the author said Nigerians have to learn from those who have had a history and can bring the stories forward.
A lot can be achieved because the Nigerian system, the Nigerian person and the Nigerian system is very peculiar. We are very peculiar to the extent that I don't know of any economic theory. I don't know of any, if any has worked. I don't know of many that have worked for Nigeria ever since I've become, aware. And for as long as we continue to try and do a plug-and-play model for these theories and these applications and all these things coming from outside, they never solve our problems entirely. They never do. So we have to look for those that have lived the story, that have lived the history, that can bring the history and the story forward and allow this story and history become what can be useful for the others coming.
The panel session saw discussants jojoing on success, wealth, and purpose. As comparisons are made on where to draw the lines and what really matters, individuals and entrepreneurs alike were urged to understand the purpose to which they have been called. Other sessions include excerpt reading from Musings to Muse, which included Beyond Success to Chaos and Opportunities, among others.
Wealth for us is relative. We must have wealth, which is also relative in terms of quantities, in terms of numbers. Because, like I said, it's not about money alone. It's about how many people, so many other factors. For me as a person, I derive joy in making other people happy. So success is relative to individuals. To some people, it's just about money. To some people, it's about luxury. To some people, it's about housing. It's relative, but definitely it is not about money.
So to the extent of what they discuss at the panel is getting an alignment between purpose and your goals, and then you understand your journey. And so you don't spend your journey chasing money, you change purpose, as in like, what do I want to be known for? What do I want to do? Again, I believe it was Dick who spoke about it, it is relative as to where you are.
Take action. Because if you don't take action, at the end of the day, nothing happens. So all these valuable lessons in the book are not going to amount to anything if those who read the book don't take action.
Musings of the Muse is a compendium of original thought and insightful ideas on leadership, management, and life. Justin Akadonye, Plus TV News, Lagos.
And oil prices rose on Thursday, extending a cautious rally this week on signs of tight supply, while the European Union wrangles with Hungary over plans to ban imports from Russia, the world's second largest crude exporter after it invaded Ukraine. Brent crude futures gained 87 cents or 0.8% to $114.90 a barrel. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures climbed $1.02 or 0.9% to $111.35 a barrel, a bigger than expected drawdown in U.S. crude inventories in the week to May 20th, following soaring exports buoyed the market on Wednesday. U.S. refiners picked up the pace of activity, boosting overall capacity use to the highest levels since before the pandemic. And that's it on Business News. I am Khadijat Balogun. The news continues.
And up next is entertainment news.
Veteran Nollywood actress Ireti Oladol has appreciated her colleague Adeswa Etomi, who saved her daughter Jimiyo from bullies. In a lengthy Instagram post, Ireti noted that her daughter, who just turned 18, was once an object of bullying in her school. Before Adeswa stepped into the issue, making the bully die down significantly. Ireti noted that her daughter has now been transferred to a new school and has bagged a position in the student council shortly after her resumption. Veteran musician Baba Frayo has revealed that his new single titled Show Love would be released before the end of the year, after being off the music scene for 20 years until his resumption in 2021. He said, considering the series of killings in the nation, individuals' wickedness to one another, activities of bandits and terrorists, it was high time Nigerians understood the power of love. According to him, his new single will enlighten Nigerians on the essence of exhibiting love to one another. Kim Kardashian is heartbroken about the inaction over gun control following the United States' second deadliest mass shooting at a Texas primary school. After 19 children and 2 teachers were shot dead by an 18-year-old gunman, the 41-year-old reality TV personality commended the lack of movement, enact gun laws that protect our children. She pointed out that the AR-15s were used in many similar tragedies, such as the Sandy Hook Elementary in 2012 and the Stoneman Douglas High School in 2018, and urged for changing the age limit from 18 to 21. Kanye West's 2020 presidential campaign committee has allegedly been targeted in a fraud scheme that cost them thousands of dollars. Members of Kanye West's 2020 filed a letter with American Federal Election Commission revealing that the alleged someone with access to the campaign's bank account swiped $3,999 of campaign funds in 3 transactions between December 2021 and February 2022. The letter added the money was taken from an account held with First Bank of Wyoming, and bosses at the bank have not reimbursed the campaign for the money which was allegedly stolen. No arrest has been done. No arrest have been done.
And up next is Sport News.
Hello and welcome to Sports News on Plus TV Africa. New Super Eagles head coach Jose Pizarro has stated his immediate target for the Super Eagles. Pizarro, who was appointed earlier in the month, is in the United States to lead Nigeria out on 2 international friendly games against Ecuador and Mexico. The former Venezuela national team coach said he will work to make Nigeria African champions for the 4th time in what was a direct declaration of his immediate goal. The Portuguese is expected to lead Nigeria to the 2023 AFCON in Côte d'Ivoire, but will first face a qualifying stage against Sierra Leone, Guinea-Bissau and Mauritius. In a tweet on Wednesday, Pizarro wrote that he is seeking to understand and value Nigeria's roots as he will be inspired by them. He added that it's with great pride and joy that he is the coach of the Nigerian senior national team. Pizarro will have a first opportunity to see the group of Super Eagles players in the United States before selecting a squad of the final 25 for the qualifying games. Next in the NBA, where the Boston Celtics are now just one win away from the NBA Finals after a 93-80 victory over the Miami Heat in Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Final. Jaylen Brown scored 25 points with Jason Tatum adding 22 as the Celtics put in a strong second-half showing at the FTX Arena. Boston outscored Miami 32-16 in the third quarter before a 14-2 spot in the fourth quarter saw them close out the game. Game 6 will take place in Boston on Sunday night. Lastly, we round up with the UEFA Champions League, where former Liverpool defenders Phil Thompson and Alan Kennedy are excited for Saturday's UEFA Champions League final, given the familiar setting of the match. Liverpool and Real Madrid will meet in Paris for the 2022 final, just like they did 41 years ago in 1981, a final that both Thompson and Kennedy played in. Thompson captained Liverpool on that historic night in Paris, whilst Alan Kennedy scored the winning goal in a 1-0 victory for the Reds, claiming their 4th Champions League title. Both men warned that Jurgen Klopp's side cannot take anything for granted against a Real Madrid side that has produced incredible performances throughout the season's tournament.
You cannot take anything for granted. This Real Madrid team, as we've seen, Paris Saint-Germain, Chelsea, then you see Man City, they have something in them which you go, wow, is that European experience?
Well, that's it, I mean, collect the trophy.
It was... See, I always believed it's the right way to do it, is the captain goes up first. That is his moment in the spotlight, that the pictures are going to be beamed all around the world, in all the papers. And that was my moment. I'd seen those glorious pictures of Emlyn in Rome and at Wembley, and I just wanted that moment. So I'm first up there. And as you can see with the UEFA delegate, shakes my hand, and then starts to raise the European Cup. And that is my moment. You can see my hands going like that. Give me that cup here. And it is just that thrill to be the first Scouser to lift the European Cup. It was the best footballing moment of my life, just to do that and raise that cup. It was most people say.
That's all for now. Stay tuned for more sports news on Plus TV Africa.
And the main news again. President Muhammadu Buhari reiterates commitment to free, fair, peaceful elections. Libya rival leader Bashagha says he has no plans to rule from Tripoli. And the World Health Organization Assembly votes to adopt a Western-led resolution condemning Russia's actions in Ukraine. And that's the news now. For more stories, please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa and Plus TV Africa Lifestyle. I am Adebanke Udunui. Many thanks for watching.
Yes, we are back and we are live to bring you the vibes, intellectual conversations, dope narrations, analysis, and some of the brightest conversations on this side of the globe. You know, it's your favorite show, Tea Time, and my name is Elile.